All right, good morning, everybody. Today's date is June 22nd, 2022. This is a regular meeting of the members of the State Liquor Authority being conducted in New York City with video conferencing to Albany and Buffalo. We're also live streaming on the State Liquor Authority's YouTube channel. Present today are Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Fan, and Commissioner Ford. Staff in attendance, General Counsel Meyerhoff, Deputy Commissioner of Licensing Donahue, and myself, Secretary Roper. The next meeting dates are July 13th and July 27th. While in the New York City meeting room, please silence your mobile phones and take all phone calls or conversations outside. No food or drinks in the room. The public restrooms are located on the second floor. Also, when you approach the podium, please don't mess with the mic. We'll be able to pick up whatever you say. Items will be called in the order they are signed in, first in Buffalo, then Albany, and then in New York City. When your item is called, please approach the podium, identify yourself. Representatives also identify your clients when you walk up, please. Chairman, do you have any announcements?
I don't know. Tom, did you have it?
Yeah, I have one, and I'll repeat it at the next meeting too. So we're finding that, particularly with the applications for the temporary retail permit, that applicants are submitting out-of-date applications. And I'm also saying actually that that's kind of universal for all the applications. I'm seeing old forms that we have not used in years being submitted. We are going to start rejecting them. Our forms are available on our website, and I understand that for practitioners who appear before us frequently, you may have your forms at your office that you use. You need to update them because we are not going to keep accepting forms that are no longer the approved forms.
All right. So the first item is actually in both Buffalo and Albany. That's 1033 Cayuga Lake Wine and Spirits, Inc. It's a request for reconsideration. I believe the requester is actually in Albany. That's correct, Paula?
That's correct.
Good morning, board members. I'm Michael Baxter. I'm the owner and operator of Dockside Wine and Spirits. I am here today in complete opposition to the Cayuga Lake Wine and Spirits, Inc. store.
All right, so let me stop you there because we're going to hear from the applicant first because it's a recon.
No.
So this is an interesting request for reconsideration.
Oh, I got it.
This
I
is
got it. I did read
opposition.
this. Yes, this is the opposition who says he did not get notified. I got it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My store, Dockside Wine and Spirits, was open in August of 2021 in the village of Union Springs in the town of Springport. Prior to this, village has not had a liquor store for 10 plus years. Previous two went out of business in that area. Since we've been open, we're very happy with the support of the community. We've gotten connections with the local restaurants, the wineries in New York State, as well as distilleries. We also have employed 4 or 5 local individuals since we opened. The village, I know you have this information, but I just want to reiterate, has 1,100 year-round residents. The town of Springport, which the village is in, has 2,300 population. Now that's over 105 square miles, so it's very spread out. In the summertime, we do see an influx of campers and boaters, but at best, I would say that we are doubling our population. Of course, that's only from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and that's weather dependent. On June 4th, I appeared in front of the board and as the opposition for Cayuga Lake Wine and Spirits. The application was denied on the basis that the population could not sustain two stores that are just 1.1 miles away from each other on the same road. At this meeting, the principal failed to attend that. May 11th, the same licensee was brought in front of the board for reconsideration. I was not notified prior to that meeting and therefore was not in attendance. The board approved the license with no real change in the situation from January to May. If anything, being that I was open all winter up there, a realization that it's very difficult to run the wine and spirit store in the Finger Lakes in the winter. And quite honestly, we had days where we had 10 customers and less than $200 come in the till. So it was tough to get through. We look forward to this summertime to try to recoup some funds. Now, on that meeting, the vote was 2-1. Commissioner Ford voted no, and his statement was because we didn't know the impact of a store that hadn't been open for a year yet. And we still don't know. I have been in front of the board several times and have watched you on YouTube, and it always comes down to public convenience and advantage. It's the reason why a new store is approved. Allowing two stores in the town of Springport provides no added advantage or convenience, and if anything, one or both stores will be out of business within a year. I know this board is not in the business of putting stores out of business, so I have a real concern of where I'm going to be a year from now.
Have any questions? I believe we have, and then Buffalo is the applicant, I believe now licensee though. I don't know if you want to hear from him or if you're ready to vote.
Can I just have a conference with council?
Okay. So we're going to go on a brief recess to conference with council. We'll be back on the record shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back on the record after a short recess, the conference with council.
Are we allowed to talk?
Would you like to hear from the licensee or?
Not really.
Okay. Are you ready to vote? Okay, so on whether to grant reconsideration.
So based on what we heard from Dockside, while I understand your feelings about this, I feel like everything that was presented was considered in the last round in May, and so I vote no on reconsideration.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm going to vote yes on reconsideration to remain consistent with my past opinion.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to vote no. Everything that was presented here today and everything that was presented in writing was considered not only at the first hearing of this, but also on the first reconsideration. And I don't see anything new here that's been presented today that would require me to change my vote.
All right, so the request for reconsideration has been denied. Thank
We aren't
you.
even allowed to.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
thought
you keep
We've
your,
been
so
open.
you're fine.
Wait.
Yeah, you're open.
Oh.
You can stay open. The request for reconsideration's been denied. So that means
Oh,
we don't have to
okay.
reopen it, so.
I am sorry.
I'm
We
so
just,
sorry.
we are so,
And I was
It's
expecting
okay.
everybody to vote. When you went and stopped, I was like, oh, wait, I
we're
thought
so
everybody
sorry.
else voted.
Just,
Thank you.
thank you very
All
much
right.
for your time.
You're welcome.
We
Thanks
will
for
get that.
showing up.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thank you.
I think in Albany, thank you. And Nicole, is that it? In Buffalo?
Thank you, Nicole.
Nicole, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, so you can just stay on for about 15 minutes and then you can, just in case. All right, thank you, Nicole. All right, so that's it in Buffalo. The next one is in Albany. That's 01 or 1031 Maria S. Hernandez.
Just didn't get the names. Hello. State your name for the record.
My name is Maria Hernandez, and I'm here I'm the owner of Hernandez Mexican Store, which is a grocery store in Geneva, New York.
So why was the temp not renewed here?
It was recently renewed, and I'm seeking to get the permanent approval, I believe.
How did you find this place?
I'm sorry?
How did you find this location?
This location, I have I'm working with an attorney who suggested that I come to the meeting.
No, I'm saying not this place. I'm saying, how did you find your store?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been open for 2 years now. I was in a previous location, which was very small, and then I moved to a bigger location, in which I had more products in, and Hispanic population there were requested beer, Mexican beer, and I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can get a permit for that. So I started working with an attorney in order to get
Okay.
the permit, and I've been having the permanent for.
All right, and your other store was also in Geneva, the one you moved from?
Yes, it was
All right, I'm good.
about
Okay.
We're ready now.
All right, Commissioner Fan,
I'm gonna vote to approve.
Commissioner Ford,
I'll vote to approve as well.
Chairman Bradley.
I'll vote to approve. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Paula, that's it in Albany, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, just stay on for just like 12 more minutes, just in case, and then you can sign off and
Exactly
go back
12
to work.
hours.
Well, 10:30. I'll give
Okay.
them 30 minutes in case someone shows up. Thanks, Paula. Moving to
We have to wait till 10:30?
No, let's just start. I mean, there are people here. You don't.
No,
Do we have to wait?
the problem is we tell people we start at 10:30, And if something happens and they show up at 10:30, we've already called their item.
I understand.
So who's first? Is there any opposition?
So do you want me to move on
Just
to
tell me, yeah, who's first on the list?
1026? That's 435 Operations MTK LLC.
Is there going to be opposition on that?
I don't know.
Martin Mailer from Mailer Musemi. I overheard what you were saying. You wanted ownership here. Ownership is coming in from the Hamptons. We just texted them. They're about 7 minutes away. Second call. Yeah.
Call the next one.
Okay.
Next one is 1044. It's a declaratory ruling.
No, call the next one.
Yeah,
No, because there may be somebody coming that wants to talk. Oh, no, you're the only guy for this, right? Come on
It's
up.
a declaratory ruling.
Yep, come on up.
1026, you said?
1044.
So Thomas Burke from the Law Office of Stacy L. Weiss. We're seeking a declaratory ruling in advance of filing a license application. We ask that the premises at 9193 Baxter Street, New York City, be excluded from the 500-foot law since it's been continuously licensed since 1961. The licensee being Forlini's Restaurant Limited, serial number 1028400.
Very sad day when Forlini's closed.
Yes.
I know.
Any lunch there. All right.
What's going in there?
The new applicant is putting a Japanese-Mexican fusion restaurant in there.
Japanese, Mexican.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
So since the gap here is less than 2 months, I'm going to vote in the affirmative that this address, 9193 Baxter Street, is considered grandfathered and therefore outside of the 500-foot law application.
Commissioner Ford?
Same here.
Chairman Bradley?
I will vote the same, but just to be clear, that's a pretty active community board down there, so I would
I know.
recommend that they go meet with them anyway.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
I plan to. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So next is 1029. That's Mikey's Restaurant and Lounge, Inc.
Good morning. Frank Nalaveco, a representative for Mikey's. We're looking to do an adjournment. We need more time to sit and meet with the community board.
Okay, how long do you need?
Their next meeting or hearing is around July 20th. So we wanted to be slated for the July 27th SLA hearing.
Okay, July 27th.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Fan and Ford?
Yep, July 27.
All right, so next is 1038, 1039, and 1040. That's Classico Tavern 1, Inc. Yes.
Yes. What is this place, Tom? Restaurant or bar?
Let me check. It's a bar tavern, jukebox, DJ, recorded music.
So do you want us?
Good morning,
Hi.
ladies and gentlemen. Jack
This is-
Post.
This is a pretty good history for being open 2 years.
That is correct. But we have taken many steps to correct all the violations. In addition, I would present those to you shortly, but our primary goal is to amend the application to convert it to a full-scale restaurant with no music, no DJ, only background music,
That's not an amendment, that's a new applicant, it's a class change.
Then it would be a new application. In the meantime, if you would look, ladies and gentlemen, at the paperwork I've submitted to you, it shows that we have engaged a new security company, which is on board with a significant attendance at the premises as it now stands.
Did your client come?
I'm sorry?
Did your client come today?
Yes, he is, right here, madam.
Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Okay.
We have engaged a new security company, which now provides us with 3 security personnel at every evening that it is open. We have 1 security personnel at the front door, 1 at the back door, and 1 roaming throughout the premises. In addition, there was a statement that there was no food on the premises, when in fact, filed with the paperwork is the menu. I've even brought a...
So let me just stop you there. Every person I have fined in my 7 years here for not having food has had a menu.
Correct.
Yeah, not only that, they've had a kitchen or facilities to serve food. The problem is there's no food.
And the further problem is you pled no contest, which means this is not a meeting to discuss whether the charges were supported by evidence or not. You've admitted that they were supported by evidence.
And we have since corrected that.
Okay. Well, then that's fine. But just, I mean, this tends to happen quite a bit lately. Parties either plead no contest or go through a hearing and seek to introduce evidence that either was outside the hearing record or what they admitted to already. So I just want to caution you about that.
Yes, we did have a hearing with, I think, Hearing Officer Pakin, and that documentation was presented. It is also presented in the package.
I understand that, but then you decided that you didn't want to go to hearing, right? And you asked to plead no contest instead.
Correct, and come before you and plead our case. Attached to the paperwork I submitted is a very detailed showing of all the food that has been cooked at the premises, as well as the kitchen facilities now all in order and operating. We have a full-time chef is there in the documentation that we presented.
I mean, and that's all fine and good that he fixed all this, but I got to be honest with you. He either has absolutely no idea what he's supposed to be doing, which I don't believe, or he just doesn't want to do what he's supposed to be doing. And I'm going to point to several things besides the overdoses of heroin and drugs. But he's renting the place out to family and friends without supervision. That's cardinal rule number 1 when you have a liquor license. You don't do that. He's paying people off the books. We have multiple violent episodes, either in front of the premises or inside the premises. There's stuff here that it's great that he found God, but he's been open 2 years and he racked up 1.5 pages of violations. All stuff that really could have been stopped by him if he managed the place. And it's clear to me he didn't, or had no intent to, one or the other. So what you want us to trust that he's now going to do what he should have been doing 2 years ago?
Well,
people got hurt.
I think now that he has been advised by counsel, has taken all the necessary steps to correct all the violations, and I'd like you to just look at the package that I've
I
submitted.
did read it, and the one thing that jumped out at me is you never mentioned the overdoses, which if the police don't show up, that person is probably dead. You don't mention anything about the violence.
Possessions of weapons.
We know nothing.
Shots fired, alarms.
All right, there were shots fired, but it was across the street, not in my client's premises. It was absolutely across the street. The police were there. There is another bar down the street, and we suspect this person came from that bar and then was in an altercation. But those shots were not fired in our premises.
Then why didn't you go to hearing? To prove that the charges shouldn't have been sustained against you if you had no responsibility for that.
And you also lose the benefit of the doubt when all this other stuff is on there.
Well, I'd
When you
like,
have fights in front when the police are showing up, when the police show up and ask to enter the premises and the door gets locked, so the police can't come in, which they have an absolute right to do.
we dispute that. The place was
Then
closed.
here's the deal. Then you seem to be disputing a lot. I'm voting that this goes back to counsel's office for hearing. Because this isn't you trying to, that's all I'm hearing, is that none of what I'm talking about happened.
He's already written with authority to the board that he is not disputing the charges. You can assume that they're all true. If you want to credit this as mitigation evidence, you can. You also are free to disregard it if you don't think it's mitigation evidence.
Well, I would like you to consider it as mitigation
I
evidence.
know you would, but
I have-
it's one thing to say the lack of food that you charged us with that we admitted we didn't have, we now have food.
Correct.
That I get as mitigation.
Correct.
You're addressing the charges that were sustained. But to now, you were in the middle of a hearing, right? You had gone through a hearing on one of these cases, and then all of a sudden you decided, you know what? I'm a lawyer, you're a lawyer. You obviously decided to back out of the hearing because you knew you were going to lose. And you thought you might have a better profile if you came in here on a no contest plea, and you were trying to say, you know, we got it. We did some things wrong. Please, mercy to the board. Right? That's a better posture to be in on. And for everybody who's watching this meeting, it's not revolutionary that a lawyer would do that and then try to come in here and nonetheless argue whether or not the evidence was supporting the charges. What I'm saying is that's improper.
What I am
can't do that.
What I'm trying to show to the board is that we have corrected all those issues.
Okay.
But you haven't, because you were saying to me that you're running a restaurant. If I look on your website today, opening hours are still 9 to 2, 9 to 2. You said you corrected to 2 a.m., but on Mondays you open until 3 a.m. Friday, Saturday, you're open until 4 a.m. You're telling me you want to be a restaurant, but then you're putting security guards all over it. That's not a restaurant.
Well, until we are converted to a restaurant, I thought it'd be best to show a good presentation of security. The hours have been
If you want to be a
reduced.
restaurant, you would be just serving food and trying to be a restaurant, not try to come here and convince us to give you your license and then go to a format that makes less money. That makes no sense to me.
Could I, though, continue with the presentation that I put in the package to you? There is proof there of all the food receipts that we have since.
Yeah, but you're open at 9 p.m. What's the point of pictures of food if you're not actually even open during dinner hours? Like, that's not believable. It really doesn't pass the laugh test. Like, I mean, it's just a fact that you're not actually a restaurant.
Well, the food purchases indicate that we did acquire food, and respectfully, I would submit that we don't buy food unless we're going to cook and serve it. That's not practical and not realistic. In addition, there are invoices for all the alcohol beverages purchased, both beer and alcohol.
Sir, I can also show you a fresh direct order I made last week, but it doesn't mean that I cooked food at my house. You know, like, come on.
In addition, I've submitted in the package that my client has taken both of the TAP and ETPIS courses. In addition, there was an allegation that the kitchen was not properly cleaned. We have since cleaned that kitchen, and we used a licensed hood service company. There was also a claim that there was an abandoned fuel oil tank in the premises that was not under our control, but we nevertheless had that removed by a lawful entity that was licensed to remove the tank. We do, again,
The pictures of food are literally chicken wings and fries.
and shrimp.
That's what you're showing me.
And please look carefully. There's also
That's just bar
shrimp
food.
and potatoes. And there is a full menu. This was submitted to in the package, which recites, chicken wings, plantain, fries, fried fish, butter shrimp, pepper shrimp, steamed snapper, seafood platter, crab's legs, and the rest. So we do
So you
have.
think that with this menu, people are going to be walking in and trying to order a full dinner? With wings, shrimp, different versions of shrimp, and seafood platter?
Correct. And we would expand that menu once we have that conditional approval from the board. The other item that I would like the board to consider is this location of this site is a commercial street. It's Jerusalem Avenue. There are stores east and west of this location. Behind the store, which we have no control over, is a residential area. That's just the way the zoning is set up. And so most of these complaints, I think, are unjustified.
Why?
Because all businesses have a certain degree of noise, and it's not something that can be.
But would the police get a noise complaint in your case, or your client's case, in 2021, they received 13 of them. They go to the location to see if that complaint is substantiated.
And
the client was charged with it, so I'm assuming it was substantiated.
And several of them, there was specific notation by the police that there was no noise.
Again, now you're arguing whether or not the charges should have been sustained.
Like I said before.
I have to just counsel the board that well, I've made the point clear. If you want me to recite the evidence that supported the charges, we could have a little mini trial here without an ALJ present.
Correct.
All right, and then we have just two lawyers arguing about evidence.
No,
the
we're
reason
not-
we're
we're not-
here,
we're not
right, and that's why you either go to hearing or you don't go to hearing. And you, your client, unlike most clients that want to resolve this matter, actually started the hearing. And you apparently diagnosed the situation, decided it was not going well, and that you would go in a different direction. So, it's incumbent on you to recognize that you've you've essentially pleaded guilty. We don't call it guilty because it's criminal. It's not a criminal charge, but you've pleaded no contest. And now you're contesting. So you're in a spot. Anyway.
Do you have anything else to add?
Well, if you want to send it back.
Well, no, it's up to the board to decide what to do. But at this point, in deference to the administrative process of the State Liquor Authority, I think it would be inappropriate to send this case back to hearing. We were in the middle of a hearing. We had an ALJ working on the case.
That I was not aware of. Okay.
Commissioner Fan?
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Just please consider that this is my client's livelihood. He employs various people. He is willing to make any corrections that the board thinks are
I know, but
necessary.
you're showing me $100 worth of frozen seafood being bought every 6 months, and you're trying to tell me he's running a restaurant. Like, it's just not believable.
Yeah, well, exactly. We would like to continue that and to amplify it to a full restaurant and convert the premises to a full restaurant with the board's consent.
I know, but
We
if
would-
you're in a
You don't need
We
the
would-
board's consent to order and serve food.
Right,
You don't need to be classified, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but you can put a kitchen in and serve whatever you want. You've obviously decided not to run a restaurant. So
The only distinction is that under the law, for certain issues, if you are approved as a restaurant, so you can do or not do certain things. But as council points out, there's nothing stopping a bar/tavern, okay, from putting in a full kitchen and offering what would be a common restaurant menu.
And going and getting a new security service seems, the one thing, the other thing that you sent in suggests an intent to operate a location that needs security. And what you're trying to say is that you want to operate a place that doesn't need security. And yet, well, look.
Exactly.
I think we've banged this around enough.
Yeah.
What we would like, though, is the opportunity to make that conversion, to amend the license to a full restaurant.
Okay, thank
And
you.
retain the license with a bar.
All right, Donald.
All right, very good, thank you.
Commissioner Fan?
I'm at 35,000. I'm going to limit your hours to midnight across the board.
What about the entertainment he suggested?
It's background music only.
Background music only is fine.
Commissioner Ford?
Based on the history and everything, I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I mean, the place has had, he stated that the licensee has had no food and there hadn't been for a long time. That's not even the worst part of it. Safety violations such as fire extinguishers, failure to maintain them, the kitchen stove hood. Kitchen was in unsanitary condition, riddled with debris and hookah pipes. All the complaints that the police had to respond to. Narcan being administered, a patrons attacked with a sharp object, slashed in the face, other fights within the bar. I just think that this place is out of control. I think it's a menace to the neighborhood, and the police are adamantly against it, and I'm at canceling bond.
Chairman Bradley?
I'm at canceling bond too. As I said, this license was issued in October of 2020. These charges started in December of 2021.
October, actually.
October of 2021, run all the way up through February of this year. And as Commissioner Ford pointed out, there's a lot of technical violations that normally I would let somebody fix, no question. But then on top of that, we have a person dancing with a loaded gun inside the premises. We have incidents of complete lack of supervision. We have availings. We have no food, no gas was even turned on in the kitchen so that food could be served. There were no plates, utensils, or a menu. There's just too much here. The hookah is all over the charges here. They were apparently serving that regularly. I'm not going to let somebody else get hurt because of a decision I made. So I'm going to vote to deny, or vote to cancel and bond.
All right.
Thank
If you're
you.
at cancellation and bond, you'll receive a letter in the mail.
All right. I just would like you to note the package that was submitted. Many of these items have been corrected, including the fire extinguishers, the cleansing of the kitchen, the ductwork.
We have the written, it's all acknowledged that you stated it is fixed.
All right. That, including emergency lighting, was all tested and so
We
on.
appreciate that, sir. We
Try
have
to run the
materials in-
restaurant. Run
we
the
have
restaurant and you can come back.
We have the materials. The board takes very close care in reading everything that's submitted.
Very
So-
good. That's all I would request at this time. Thank you.
Calling back up 1026, that's 435 Operations, MTK LLC.
Before I go into my presentation as licensee, as an aside, if I may, there was a response about how did you get here today? When I was with the authority, and I'm dating myself because Chief Justice Fuld was the judge of the Court of Appeals, I was arguing a case for the authority and he asked how I got there that day, and I said, well, I took the train and then took a taxi from Rensselaer, and he says, no. And it was a jurisdictional question. I prevailed on the court, but it brought back a rather fine
And how
memory.
do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Hey, practice. All right.
Thank God.
Be that as it may, Martin Mailer of Mailer and Buscemi. I have substituted for Terrence Flynn as attorney for this applicant. I did view the last board meeting's presentation. The Liquor Authority, the members wanted the ownership. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. There is one owner. There was supposed to be another one here, but his wife is giving birth today, so that sort of took preference. But I'd like them to introduce themselves, and then let me make the presentation. Okay. Sure.
Hi, good morning. Peter Ferrandino, ownership.
Good morning. Edward Slazak. I represent Mr. Ferrandino. I'm an attorney and assisted with the removal of Mr. Morton from both of these entities.
Good morning, Brian Coote. I'm the chef for the restaurant.
Okay. There you go.
Hi, good morning, Sean Dillon, Senior Management. Good morning, Eric Miller from Cranberry Hill Consulting, who's helping to change this back to the proper restaurant that it needs to be, and that's what this application is all about.
All right. That being said, the board wanted to see management, wanted to see the owners. They're here. We have an application here for a restaurant. It's a restaurant in the Hamptons, and it's, I'm sorry, Montauk. And it's been a restaurant for a long period of time. Former ownership is completely gone. This is a complete buyout, as you've just heard, and if it has to be elaborated. There apparently was someone connected to this premises that the authority, from what I can see based on charges that were brought, don't think it has the requisite character and fitness to get a license. His name is Jeremy Morton, and ownership, once they realized what was going on, voted and threw Mr. Morton out of any position related to the landlord or anything to do with the restaurant at all. He had been someone who had guided them, or they thought was guiding them in the right direction. I don't think this board particularly cares for Mr. Morton, and he is gone. And if you need any elaboration as to why he's gone or how he's gone, the attorney that handled the matter is standing behind me. I have the owner.
So I think, and we all trust that he is gone, but there's been recent developments.
You're talking about some other premises?
Yeah.
Yes,
And I remember, I didn't even have to go back and look at the video, although we did get calls from the press and I asked them to look at it, about the warnings that I gave personally.
Mr. Chairman, I fully.
Mr. Flynn acknowledged he heard. And then I don't think it took 10 days that it's apparent to me that every one of those warnings was ignored.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to.
Can we get a confirmation that it's the exact same ownership group? The Rushmeyer's property and this property?
Sans Mr. Morton, yes. Basically, I mean,
well, we were told that Mr. Morton wasn't involved before. Maybe you didn't pass a formal resolution, but Mr. Morton wasn't operating Rushmeyer's when these issues took place, as far as we were told.
What you were told in the past, I have nothing to do with, and I don't
think that's
understand.
why you're here instead of Mr. Flynn.
Well, maybe that is, maybe that isn't, but that will discuss or something between myself and my client.
And the one thing I said to Mr. Flynn at the time that this came up initially, before the Rushmeyer's blew up, was that I think as a board, particularly in this area of the state, we're not really happy when we see a list of absentee owners, because that just creates problems for us, because we get phone calls, we end up having to send our investigators out there to do enforcement, and lo and behold, 10 days later, that's what happened.
Mr. Chairman, I had a meeting with these gentlemen, and I knew, in fact, I was even more direct in what I was saying with respect to Rushmeyer's. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I've gone before this board on numerous occasions, and I've heard arguments from others. I know what your problem is with absentee ownership. The owners are stepping up and taking a direct position right now. They've hired two gentlemen. Let me. I don't want to reintroduce them, but I want you to understand that these are, and you've seen their resumes. They're part of the presentation that I made.
Yeah. Before you dig yourself a deeper hole, Mr. Mailer, Mr. Dillon, my understanding is, works with Mr. Rita. Is that right?
I do.
Okay. Do you know who was operating this place for the entire period when all the charges that led to its cancellation took place?
Mr. Rita, I'm
so these absentee owners who were incapable of making sure that Rushmeyer's operated properly after clear instructions from the board have come to the good sense of allowing the same people that ran this place into trouble to take over it now.
I instructed owners to get rid of Mr. Rita. I knew this was going to come. Excuse me?
They didn't.
This gentleman
He works for
with
his
them.
company. He's the chief operating officer.
I mean, it's easy for me to say, let him speak, but he wasn't there that day. This is not something that he
We're
instructed.
not talking about Rushmeyer's. We're talking about Rick's.
It's, by the way, it's
all common ground now.
One of the things, I'm not, absolutely. I'm not trying in any way to so what happened at Rushmeyer's.
When Rick's was rebranded as Common Ground in the summer of 2019, that's when the trouble started. First under Mr. Gibbs' ownership, and then under Mr. Morton's ownership.
But when you say, I have spoken to the land use attorneys that are out east, They have spoken to the town. The town is very favorable in terms of wanting the new ownership to remain because they've assured them that there will be no repeat, no problems. So, no, I mean, it's easy to say. Look, I'm not here.
Mr. Flynn told us about Rushmeyer's.
I don't
Which is
know.
why I reiterated what was not going to happen during the temp. I said, come back for the permanent license, and assuming there's no problems, I'm sure you're going to get everything you asked for at Rushmeyer's. But prove to us, at least during the temp period, that you can act like a responsible licensee.
Mr. Chairman, I am not Mr.
involved in this thing. I have no idea how these guys, who clearly are sophisticated businessmen, would write checks and let somebody run that place like they ran it. That to me is like burning money. It's like throwing it in a furnace.
Mr. Chairman, I can't argue with you. What happened, happened. What I'm telling you now is I read them the Riot Act. I explained to them what was
They don't
going to
need
happen.
the Riot Act. I read the Riot Act. I went and took the temp away. That was the Riot Act.
Without question, Mr. Chairman,
And
you didn't,
Tom took it away.
and you didn't act improperly at all. I understand where you're coming from. I understand where the License Bureau is coming from, and I don't disagree with the decision of the License Bureau. What I'm trying to tell you, the wake-up call is there. This will never happen again. This can't happen again.
That's what we heard last summer.
Well, when you say last summer,
They didn't own it, but the guy that managed the place,
No, they
who
did
he
own it.
works with,
They did own it with Mr. Morton.
and he works with him, they're all back together again.
no, they're not. May he address that if he may?
Sure.
They're not back together. They are.
Address that. Sure.
They are parting ways with former ownership. Go ahead.
May I?
Yeah.
So I'm Eric Miller. I do not work for them. I have a restaurant and a catering company in East Hampton. I've lived out there full-time 15 years. I've had liquor licenses for over 30 years, all completely unblemished. And this is my first season on board to come aboard and take these two properties and then turn them into proper restaurants with proper food service, with an emphasis on food and
When did you
beverage.
get hired?
I got hired before this season, and yes, I was.
Where were you 10 days? Where were you?
I was on
7
route-
days ago at Rushmore.
I can only, I
They were
have.
on tables.
I have to
with
take,
bottles.
I
got
have,
pictures.
I have to take responsibility for the people that I put in under my management company, did not do their job, they've been removed from their job, and it just won't happen again. I just can't allow it to happen again. I mean, it doesn't happen in the restaurant I own right now down there, which is licensed by you, my catering, on-premise, off-premise weddings, and 30 years in New York City, I've never, ever had an issue. I can't explain why that manager allowed that to happen. I have no words to describe how 8 days after you were very clear what we should do, that actually happened. I couldn't even believe the report the next morning, and I was en route at that time, so I
Did
kept.
you know there were disco balls in the location?
Well, those have been hanging there. That's a decorative.
No, it's
for,
not.
For dancing.
I mean, it's been there for 30 years, or
Is it a
20 years.
surprise that, well, all right.
Is it a surprise that people are dancing? Well, they've been instructed,
Yeah,
security's been instructed not to dance.
There's a thing in the law called res ipsa loquitur, which means the thing speaks for itself. So I'm not going to speak any more about it. I apologize for interrupting.
But let's hear from Mr. Dillon, because I find it hard to believe that you brought up here somebody who's going to manage this place that is literally in business with the former manager, who clearly has issues with this agency at this point.
Mr. Chairman, if you know anything about me, I just try to be as forthright as I possibly can. I'm not here to.
I know
hide
you
anything.
didn't hire him. I'm not.
No, but I'm just saying, we're not here. I knew this was coming. I knew it was the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I knew there were going to be questions about this. I want to be as forthright, or at least I want my.
I just want to give Commissioner Fan credit for making them come in here. Otherwise, they would already be on a temp.
Well, I don't know why they weren't here last.
I know,
Again,
and I am terribly disappointed because if you had just brought them and that didn't happen, they would have gotten the temp. But then in the meantime, we got police reports.
Not on this place, on the other one.
On the other one,
Yes,
which
I know.
speak to what you're doing here. I mean, that one it was very clear that you were on a very, very tight leash. And what happened?
Commissioner, I don't have an actual excuse. I'm telling you, it will not happen again.
There's really no excuse. It was mismanaged by the people we put in. They've been removed. And I don't know if you had a chance to see what we did to the place. I brought.
And listen, I'm sure your reputation, and I read your resume, it speaks for itself.
I'm a chef
You
by training, and
you
so.
have the luxury, though, of when they don't listen to you, of walking away. And the problem I see is, yes, it got mismanaged 8 days ago. It got mismanaged last summer as well. This place and the other place. And we have somebody affiliated with the guy that helped that mismanagement occur.
I think
very closely affiliated.
He may have been involved. He may have been operating these places last summer. I don't
So
know.
we're going to hear from him too. But
He was actually brought on afterwards in order to put controls in that would change the course of the direction of these two properties
But
and
why
future
would I
properties.
believe that that's his intent when the guy who owns the company he works for has never shown that intent to this board, based on our experience with him? And
I think that's why I'm here, sir.
I can't even express that every summer in 7 years, how many phone calls I get from this area. The people that live out there permanently don't want this. And they want restaurants. I'm sure they're fine with restaurants. They don't want this. And then regularly we tell the people that come in and get the licenses not to do this because it creates not only issues for you, it creates issues for us. And then every year, somebody comes in and buys these places, opens them for 4 months, sucks as much money as they can out of the area, not worrying about the consequences, and then we're back here again.
So I think the argument there is that this group are serious real estate developers. They brought in a serious restaurateur. I have photographs. I wanted to show you, mind you,
They
that.
haven't shown that.
Yeah, but mind you, because that's what happened with this manager, and we just, all of us met the next
What
morning.
happened to last year's manager?
I can't speak to last year. I know that's why they
But
retained.
that's the
That's why
quandary
they
we're having, is
retained
we
me.
have come in and heard this story before.
But did
right?
you see what we did to the restaurant? I mean, we put over $1 million into the restaurant
You're using the same name.
to see.
No, no. The same name as last summer? Or they're not using Rick's.
No, they're using common ground.
Switching to common ground.
It was branded Common Ground last summer.
Yeah. And now if you go
And the summer
and
before.
And I recognize that there are other common grounds. We have the internet. We look.
Sure, of course.
The majority of them, and there's not that many, but there's a few of them.
There's a
they
couple.
run exactly as Rushmeyer's was running. They turn into a club at night.
Well, Rushmeyer's also, that's why I brought this along, to show you what we
But
did
see,
to
my point
to
The
Rushmeyer's.
point I'm making is you're branding this place to try to bring people who perhaps went to Mexico and went to the one there, or went to Delray Beach, Florida, and went to the one there. They're expecting the same thing.
Well, we're
And my
making,
guess is you plan on giving it to them.
well, we're also making a lot different because we have Brian, who's been the chef there for 20 years and serving families. I mean, I went there 30 years ago when I used to go out with my child, and it was a family-oriented place. This is the menu that Brian's gonna put in. I have copies for all of you.
I do
All
want
of
to hear
this
from
has to
Mr.
do with
Dillon.
credibility, right? Rushmeyer, as of June 13, we have a printout of it where you on your Instagram advertise yourself open all summer for brekkie, lunch, dinner, and dancing,
I'm gonna,
which you knew you were not allowed to do. right?
100% typo
And now
by
if I
this,
go
yeah.
typo,
But there's DJs advertised on there too.
right? But then now if I look, dancing has been removed.
But
I mean, it's
walked
not
out of a meeting where you were told you could only,
honest.
no DJs, no dancing, and you're advertising DJs on the internet, and you have dance floors, and
Well, with Rushmeyer's, we brought in a national restaurant group to be the operator named Ruby's, and their social media person made a terrible mistake by not altering that word. It was never our intention.
well, but
It's always
they
our
hired the
intention.
DJ too?
No, there was never a DJ, and we were always going to listen to you completely without question. I mean, that's really the truth. And what happened, we're all very, very upset by. We put a lot of money into the room to make it look like a real restaurant. I mean, look at this restaurant. You know, my previous restaurant had 4 stars in the New York Times for 10 years running.
No one doubts
That's what I run.
No one doubts that you're intending to run a restaurant. but
Yes.
My guess is you're not there at 3 a.m, right?
Well,
You're running a restaurant.
We're not going to be there at 3 a.m. because the license ends at 1 o'clock.
I watched
We're
those.
talking about Rushmeyer's, right? It's not gonna be open until.
I saw those pictures
Either
of
of the
Rushmeyer's,
places.
and I said that I can't believe they're letting these people on these nice tables and furniture. I'm like, what is going through their head that they would do this?
That person's head is no longer on premise.
Yeah, but
so
see, this is the problem because none of the guys that own the place are there.
it's me. I'm responsible. And I have the track record to prove that I can do it, and I will do it, including the place I'm running now.
I hear from Mr. Dillon because I do want to know if he was involved in the last year. Were you working there last year?
I was not. I came on last year in July, and I was just getting acclimated to the company. I was brought on by ownership. But
Where were you working?
In the city, in Manhattan.
Did you notice that there wasn't a liquor license in the name of the guys that hired you?
In what sense? Are you speaking to
the liquor license was in the name of an entity of the party that sold the business, that there was a veiling going on.
Yeah, I
for
unfortunately
several months.
I was not aware of that. I was just getting it, sort of onboarded through the city process. But yeah, obviously that was an issue. So, and just to speak to what you guys said before, 1,000%, we take responsibility. You guys put stipulations in place, and we failed there. So it's very swift corrective action has to take place with that property. And then also as with the other property, everything has to be, every control from the dishwasher has to know what the stipulations
So
are.
you're involved in operating Rushmeyers too.
No, I'm saying learning that lesson, that has to go forward.
Are you or your company involved in operating Rushmeyers is my question.
Yes, with the same ownership group, correct. I was not on property with.
And you have a contract with them?
I with ownership, yes.
You do or Common Ground does?
No, I'm saying I personally, I was brought on by ownership. I'm employed by ownership. I'm paid as an employee. So to my point is that.
Are you still affiliated with Common Ground?
I still am affiliated with Common Ground,
What's the
correct.
entity at Common Ground called? Is it CREDA? Is that it, CREDA?
No, there's Common Ground Holdings.
Okay. Do they have any ownership interest in either of these properties?
No.
Mr. Chairman, look, if I can sum this up, we're asking for a second chance. Obviously, there's going to be the shortest leash that the Liquor Authority can impose on one. You can summarily suspend this place the day after you hear that they violated whatever your
No,
action was.
actually, we can't do that because we can only summarily suspend the place when there's an imminent risk to public health, safety, and welfare. That's what the law says.
Okay.
Whether the place is a disaster that falls short of that, which is what we had last week, we couldn't have suspended the place on that basis for knowingly, intentionally violating all the restrictions that were in place.
Well, but you had a different hook. It was a temporary. You could and did.
Correct.
Well, whatever the means.
My point, though, is we often hear people say, well, you can just suspend the place if they break the law. That's not true.
Okay, you have a greater hook with a temporary than you do with a summary suspension. So I wasn't addressing the temporary. I mean, that goes without saying. I'm talking about if in fact a permanent liquor license is granted to this premises, you could summarily suspend the day after you hear that they did X, Y, or Z, whatever it is that you're going to impose.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
It's fine. You can move on.
So, I mean, what we're really asking for, and we understand that there was a tremendous problem that was
You're not
created.
asking for a second chance. You're asking for a third chance.
I'm not exactly understanding why.
They were involved in what happened last year.
The ownership?
No, the management.
Ownership and management, they both were.
Well, the ownership was not, as I understand it. The ownership had nothing to do with this last year. They brought them out.
Certainly the management did. It might be a different person, but it's the same entity. And the entity, based on how they run their other places, I'm very uncomfortable with it. And they may be allowed to do that in Mexico or Florida or whatever. But they are trying to create a chain, I guess, for lack of a better word. And the people that come to this place, knowing it's called Common Ground, are going to expect what it is in Florida and what it is in Mexico, and that's not going to happen.
Can I suggest something then?
Here's the suggestion I would make.
A different name?
A different name and different management.
Different name and different.
Well, you're not a problem, but the connection to Mr. Rita to me is a huge issue.
So if we get rid of any connection to Mr. Rita, you might consider this. I mean, we'll do
I don't
that.
know where they are. I have no idea, but I'm very uncomfortable with the management.
So-
It's obvious to me that these are investors.
The
They have no-
bungalows are operating right now?
I can speak.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to thank you for all your consideration and time. I want to say one thing, I'll answer a question in a second, that the reason Ms. Mueller is here is because of our lack of attendance in the last 2 meetings, which I pleaded to come, was told not to come. And I don't blame anybody but my attorney. And you guys may know him for a while, but
Your former attorney.
yeah, former attorney, thank you. Yeah, and I feel that, after watching and asking to come and watching, your responses to where are they, I wanted, my blood was boiling, and I wanted to be here. I want you to know that I'm a resident of Montauk. I have been for over 20 years. I live there. I'm on this property. I'm a fisherman. I keep a boat there. I like to fish. And I have watched it operate for many years. And
Push,
Sorry,
if you want to push it up a little bit.
a little bit lower?
Up.
Okay. Yeah. So, but to answer your question, yes, the bungalows are currently operating on the, are we talking about the East Lake property here? Because we have
Yes.
Okay, yes, they are currently operating. And to comment on the presence of Mr. Dillon, we are super aware of the fact that things needed to change. When we bought these properties, and not to go backwards, unfortunately, we were represented by a bad actor. He's no longer a part of it. I know you guys heard that, not to be redundant, but I think, looking back at the transaction that took place and seeing what happened and seeing that, things were laid out to us as a group that, hey, this is going to work great. We know what we're going to do here. We're going to improve the properties. That's what I do for a living. I improve properties. I build things and make them better than they were. So in that same context, we did that, to go back to Rushmeyer for a second, and I was very involved in making sure that the property was brought up to standards. I was really misled, is an understatement, as to what Mr. Morton was doing with his group, and unfortunately, the way things transpired. I don't practice business that way. I have a lot of employees. I have a lot of people that rely on myself and my team, and I know that running a business, any type of business like that, is not fruitful. So I heard what you said about guys come in, they buy a place, they run it for a few months. I believe that happens all the time. I see that. That is not myself. That is not my group. We wouldn't have put the effort and the money into both properties to do that. And to Mr. Chairman, to your point, I can't understand how we can spend $1 million on a property, improving it, knowing the ROI is way down the road, giving people jobs and letting something like this happen and fail. I'm miffed by it. So it's important that I think that you understand the perspective of and the serious nature of where we're coming from as a group. And again, my deepest apologies for not being able to be here on the other meeting. You guys are busy, we're all busy, and I take things serious, and my time is no more valuable than yours. So I just wanted to make that statement, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, if I can.
So your bottle service menu that's online, is that what you plan to serve? Because this is as of 2022, so it's not from last year.
Correct. I think from the menu perspective, Eric's probably a little better after asking those questions if there's a question about menu and curating food.
Well, for me, we put in Ruby's to run the restaurant, a national restaurant group, and they were trying to do some bottle service, but
I'm talking about the Common Ground website.
Talking about coming to 435?
Yes.
Well, the intention was it's sort of that ends at like 1 o'clock in the evening, so it's an evening thing. It doesn't go late. That place is empty by 1 o'clock in the morning, regardless. And we were trying to make it sort of like a fun, all-day kind of place where people can come and drink and eat. I have copies of the menus that Brian and I put together for the restaurant, which is what he's been serving for 20 years, and did lots and lots of covers for 20 years. And obviously, we're going to have to police the Common Grounds group a lot more. And whatever you tell us we can and can't do is exactly what we're going to do. So if you feel like we shouldn't have a bottle service and just sell drinks, then that's what we're going to do. Because I think Mr. Ferrandino's group have a much longer view, like he said, about the ROI, about these properties and what they can become, and the type of restaurants and hotels that they can become. And I think that that's really our vision, and that's why they brought me in, to make things way better.
So this place has an occupancy of 75, is that correct?
No, I thought I straightened that out. The CO calls for 91, of which 70 can be no more than 75 patrons. And I attached the fire marshal's permit that's inside the premises.
I think it's not.
It says here 95 people are typical exterior occupancy, not limited, however, to the number in relation to the tent, which has a prior approval for 91 additional people outdoors from the town of East Hampton.
So 91 and 91?
95 and 91, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have to drop. I think what might be helpful for the board is
91 outside?
it's the tented area. Yeah, there's a tent that's connected to it.
Because the application says 24.
Right, and that's
20, oh, yeah, that, all right. Again, I asked that myself. They didn't.
We have very.
I can't, I don't want to throw the other attorney under the bus, but there's no explanation.
He's there
why it says
already.
24.
Just feel
No, I don't, it's not the way I work, but.
But you're a beachfront, right? So how many bodies on the beach again?
We're not, well, we sit on about 8 acres. So it's not, and part of that is shared with the bungalows in the marina.
It's a bulkhead.
It's
not a
bulkhead,
beach,
right. We're bulkhead, we're not beachfront. So, and I think it's important to note, I don't know if you have it, Marty, but we
Yeah, I do.
printed out. We have an occupancy definition via a law firm that we use out of East Hampton that engage with the town and has an attestation as to what the fire marshal permits, what the town permits, and it's as of almost yesterday, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
unfortunately, I mean,
Yeah.
if I can hand it up, I realize it's late.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's a letter and an affirmation explaining the.
Defines because we know there was some confusion regarding the occupancy there.
So, but what I see here from the town stipulation, it says occupancy is 75 and no more than 30% can occupy the outside area without an approved site plan. What does that mean?
All right, again, if you read that letter, there's an explanation as to all of this. They have met with the fire marshal, they have met with the assistant attorney for the town, they've met with all of the officials. They, that stipulation, by the way, was never signed, but that's, if you need a further clarification, I think we can get one. But for now, based on everything the land use attorney from the town is saying, the interior can have 95 and the exterior can have 91, or I'm sorry, it's reversed, 91 and 91 inside and 95.
The tent area.
In the tent area, which is outside.
And what parking do you have?
There's tremendous parking in front. If you need
We have an aerial, ample parking, yeah.
Here's
So
an
you
aerial.
think you can have 186 customers, or does that include?
No, that will include help. The customer count inside is 75 patrons, 75 customers. In addition to that, you can have a total of 91 inside. In terms of parking.
You have 15 to 20 employees and 6 security guards.
Yeah, but the 15 to 20 means, you know,
Not at the same
time,
they're not all there at the same time.
Yeah, parking is not an issue for us. It is quite a large spot.
How many rooms in the bungalow?
I mean, it might be. If you're talking about 180 people at this place, plus employees, that lot's not gonna hold 95 cars.
Oh, it does hold 95 cars, yeah. Sorry,
Are they parking on the road?
No. They're not parking on the road. It does hold, and we would obviously, offer valet parking if necessary. I'll be honest, most of the people that come, half our customers, in these days, seem to take, they're there either coming in by trains. There's a lot of taxi service that comes in and out.
Also additional parking at the motel as well?
Yes, I want to answer that question. We do have additional parking at the motel. While we have 18 units, we have ample parking for the hotel. It's never over.
And how many rooms is in the hotel?
Brandon's 18 or 20? There's one for laundry, right?
Yes.
And it's a
18.
separate property?
It's on the same, adjoining property on the same piece of land, yes. The aerial may help there. I could describe it closer if you needed me to
So
point it out.
which one is what?
Sure. So this is the actual restaurant. This would be the bungalows right here. This is the delineated. Well, this is all the property. We have water rights here. This is what's in front of each unit. What's with the thing? But frankly, this is the restaurant is all up here.
Okay.
I should have blew it up a little bigger there.
No, it's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people.
If it helps, as indicated by the town, or based on what it was depicted, this is something that goes back to 1997. There's 76 parking places. In addition to that, there are 26 spaces for the units, for the bungalows themselves. So the town in its memo dated 1997 allows for to combine 198-seat restaurant with 10 employees per shift.
The bungalows and the hotel are not part of the licensed premises.
No,
it's
they're
not
not.
a hotel.
No. We don't have any room service or we don't serve any beverages at the hotels.
I mean, this letter is dated after the stipulation was issued, so I don't understand why this letter really means anything.
Well,
because this is not a letter from the town.
I was just retained last Thursday, and I anticipated what the questions would be. So I told the attorney out there to prepare something so that I can explain what I knew was going to be a question.
Yeah, but this is not. I don't see a response where they updated their stipulation with 180 bodies.
But
what they wrote
can I
to
see
us
that?
is 75 people.
Can I see that
You don't see
stipulation?
this here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, that's,
See, the action is 75 pages from what
I know, and then it says no more than 30% can be outside.
But that's
So that means that they only want 75 patrons total. To me, that's what it means, and that only 1/3 of them can be outside. Even if they meant additional 30, I mean, I don't think they mean that, but I'm giving it to you to say that they think that 1/3 of 75 people can be outside.
Which is
And-
why the application says 24.
yeah, that's an obvious mistake that was made here. And that's why we went to the terms of getting the attestation. I mean, we're not looking to put anybody in the property above fire marshal code and regulation and health department as well. It's, that's,
But the problem is that if they said 24 people outside, it's because they know that that's limited amount of noise. That's the backyard of Moby's or, whatever. They don't want 180 people there with 90 cars.
No,
That's
they
what
have
the town is
residences.
saying, they don't want that.
yeah.
Then we go back to everybody parking along that road
No,
and everybody being really upset. Like,
I've
that's
witnessed that, and I don't mean to
what
interrupt
they're
you.
trying
You're right, and
to
I
avoid.
I just need to say something there. I've witnessed that in many years prior, and like I said, being at the marina, and we will not let that happen. Like I said, I'm a resident. I live in Montauk. My name is important to me. This is not just about filling people into a place and having gross misoccupancy. There would be no road parking. And I would say, I would contend that if we found that there was an issue with any type of parking in a lot, back to your statement, Mr. Chairman, about maximum size, we would absolutely put a valet service so we can maximize the lot if we needed to. That's not an issue. We've done it in past.
But you're talking about expanding your costs more and more, so then you need the bottle service to justify that. I'm trying to be realistic here too. Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing this for community service. Like,
No, well, and there's part of it is done for community service. I would say that Montauk's an important part of my life, and actually improving the footprint and the look of what's going on here and the fabric of what's happening is near and dear to my heart. I don't want to see it ran that way and make it any inconvenience for people. Back to the noise for a second. I would contest that we're approximately 550 feet, maybe a little more, maybe 600 feet in some places near any residence. We have a shipyard next door, and the airport is right behind us, and obviously about 4 acres underwater in front of us. So we don't really have a big challenge with noise. We can certainly monitor that. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, there is no, there's no pending violations, rather, to noise or music or capacity. Just, we have that on that attestation as well from, or local attorneys.
Who is? So this affirmation is from your attorney?
It's from an attorney we hired, an expert independent attorney we hired out of East
It's not from
Hampton.
the town.
No.
because given the time restraints.
I get that, but it's based on what's written in the stipulation as well as what's written in the application. There's clearly some type of major misunderstanding going on. Now, whether you're right or they're right, I'm not going to solve that.
Well, can I just have 1 second with my client? I want to ask you something.
Sure.
I mean, here, Gary, this is,
I mean,
they're trying to explain away the 30%.
no. I mean, are you willing to start small?
Mr. Chairman, I've just spoken to my client, and with respect to your concern about the outside, as the same with Commissioner Fan, and I suppose Commissioner Ford.
She's, and Commissioner Ford are asking their own questions.
No.
My concern is with the whole thing.
I hear you. I would ask for one of two things. Either you grant the temporary for the moment and limiting it to what you believe to be the numbers. And then we come back when we can show you from the town that the numbers are greater than what it seems to say in these things. Or ask for an adjournment and see if we can get this by the time. Well,
I mean, look, you came in with stipulations. If we were to grant this, I'll be happy to live by the stipulations as I understand what they mean.
okay.
It's a good place to start. At least you start with something and you can actually start operating.
I suggested
now we're
that.
running out of time. You're gonna come back, it's gonna be
No,
July 13th.
you're right. You're absolutely right. I'd rather have,
The aerial, do you have the aerial view?
Oh,
you have it. You have.
No, I think.
Oh, it's in the back?
Sure, I'll bring it up.
Should I see it again, second? Thank you. Are they called bungalows? Is that what they are?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm looking at the right Google Earth view.
Point it out if you like.
Just speak up so the microphone can pick you
Sure,
up.
I can point it out if you like, or,
So the restaurant is to the east of them, east of the bungalows, yes.
restaurant, yeah, you hold it up, I can show you, yes, sir.
Yes.
That's it, sir, yes, that's restaurant. Yeah.
Okay, and that's the parking for it,
That's part of
okay.
the bungalows as well, yeah, right.
Okay. No, I'm good. Thank you.
You might as well keep it, because we have
because
talked
we-
about it a
we've
lot.
relied on
Yeah,
it, so.
Give that to,
And this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't sort that. We can't sort that out on the fly.
No, they need to send that to the town
Right.
and get an updated version of the stipulation.
I agree with you, but I would ask that you at least allow for the temp with what you see as the stipulated.
So what's the music situation?
So I can speak to that. You know, the property is always operated with, live music, not, when I say live music, it's folk type music, and a DJ. We don't have a dance floor. We don't have, when I say live music, we're not bringing in
As long as you have tables, people will have a dance floor.
Yeah, well, our tables that are exterior are stay on sand, so we don't have, and we don't have any dance floor on the interior. The property has been ran that way for better part of, Brian would know better, maybe 23 years, Brian?
25 years.
25 years. And.
Are you doing like Gurney style, like outside, people can rent the tent outside for a day?
The cabana service, cabana where someone comes in, no, we're not. We're envious of them, but we're not doing that, so.
If I may.
No, we don't have problems with them. I'm on.
Yeah, no, right.
Maybe a better way to go.
I know,
You should get $1,000 just for people watching.
That's very true. That's very true. It's such a short window of time we have, and I appreciate your acknowledgement of that in terms of, if we miss the weekend, we've already missed so much, and.
That's why I was upset you didn't go last time, because you could have had this conversation 2 weeks ago.
And I heard you loud and clear, even though I wasn't here.
you may have lost your temp too, so I wish.
Yeah, I mean, double whammy.
So they want live music and DJ.
No, they don't want live.
We don't, I mean, our idea of live music is a local that plays on Thursday nights. He's a local that plays on Thursday nights for us. Tom Hughes, Jetty Kuhn, he's Nancy Alice's wife. They're kind of locals in town. So if we had live music, they'd be probably limited to that kind of thing.
Acoustic?
He's acoustic, yeah.
Non-amplified?
I would say he's slightly amplified, but not. I can assure you, not disturbing. He plays at many places in town, and
You don't have a dance floor. Do you have a stage?
We don't. We don't have a stage or a dance floor.
we complied with all of the town stipulations of removing the dance floor, removing the outdoor bar, and capping all the lighting, all of this, everything they asked us to do, we did.
Yeah.
And what's the security guard situation?
We gave a security.
Yeah, we gave a security plan there.
It's for 6. That's what it says.
Yeah.
You know, it says 6, but I mean, depending on the night, we'd have more. That's
correct.
what you want.
I wouldn't even say that. If you know, if you wanted more, it's fine, but I think that.
Well, if you only have 24 people outside, you don't need more. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to.
if you have 180 people.
Yeah.
All we're
need
trying
more.
to do is assuage
That's why
whatever
I was
fears.
digging into the whole occupancy
Yeah.
thing, because I was looking at security and employees, and it looked like a third of the people there were gonna be staff and security.
Right.
And that's gonna go into your method of operation from there, but.
Yeah.
answered that.
I know, and
So how
that's
about,
yeah.
security as needed?
Okay.
I mean.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's very fair.
Minimum
Yeah.
of 6 and increase as needed. But I'm gonna let Chairman address this point of common ground first. I think that's actually the important point.
No, I'm not voting for this. So you guys, if you're gonna vote for it, you do what you need to do. That's fine with me.
No, but
I'm not-
I want your,
I'm not voting for common ground or for the Rita group to be managing this place. So as long as that's there, they're not, in my view, getting intent. But you guys
If-
obviously vote for yourselves.
If we got rid of the common ground and the Rita group, would that in any way change your mind?
Probably, but not today, because it's not gonna happen today.
No, it would be stipulated to whatever you want. That's,
Well, if you can get it without my vote, then I wouldn't worry about
do you
it.
guys want to have a conversation first? Whether-
I would say this, Mr. Chairman, I understand your reservations. I would say that the introduction of Sean Dillon is,
Listen, and I
yeah.
don't want to offend Mr. Dillon. I have absolutely no problem with you.
I got it.
At
No,
all.
I got it.
The problem is the affiliation.
I understand, and I think that.
You clearly, based on the resume I reviewed, have a lot of experience, but
Yeah.
so does Mr. Rita.
I understand that, and I think that, I don't mean to interrupt you, sir. Yeah, not, we have too much invested here to let one individual in a group to
It's
alter.
not just one individual, though, I have to say. It's not surprising to me that businessmen who want to have a nice big place and make a hit in Montauk would want to bring in a high-profile entertainment name that is well-connected in the entertainment industry to attract not only those types of people, but the people who want to be around those types of people.
I agree with you.
And that's why this place was branded as
Yeah.
Common Ground 2 years ago, and it had negative implications
Yeah.
for a restaurant. I used to rent houses in Montauk.
Yeah.
I know,
So you know.
I've been in Rick's many times.
Yeah.
And it basically turned that place, and maybe it was because the owner at the time, Mr. Gibbs, stopped paying attention to it. But all of a sudden, for the first time, that place became a big problem in
Yeah.
Montauk,
Right.
as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So the concern is not just that it's one person or it's Mr. Dillon, who obviously we don't know anything about other than
Right.
what he said. It's the idea that that would be the type of thing that you would be looking to do there.
Yeah.
Let's bring common ground in here and brand it this way. Maybe it'll be the next, in any event.
No, I understand I understand your concerns on that, and I would say that it's
But
a
it may
different.
not be theirs, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying, so you might be fine.
Yeah, it is, I mean, I can appreciate what Mr. Miller said regarding the name. I mean, we're 2 months kind of left to try and keep people
Well, that's the other
afloat.
thing.
That's
I
the other
don't,
thing, yeah.
if you are gonna get a temp, I don't want you to come back after July 4th. That doesn't help you either.
Yeah, I know, we're dead in the water, so.
I'm not, this isn't personal at all. It's just, I don't, in my mind, have the ability to, after what went on last year and then what went on 10 days ago, to just let something else happen, regardless of the affirmations you give that that's not gonna happen.
Right.
I don't trust that, so, and maybe I'm cynical in that regard.
No, I can respect your opinion. I just can only, plead with you guys.
But it
as
sounds
to
like
where
they're
we're at.
both fine with it, so, or with limitations that she sounds like she's putting on it, so.
Right.
I mean, let's just say that we are all standing here and Chairman said what his concerns are with common ground. So I don't want to create another fire drill for you, because to go undo all
know.
of that and find, then you're out of time.
Yeah.
Right.
But
You're
if it
exactly
doesn't
right.
go well, then what
Yeah.
he wants.
Sure.
No, and you're going to come back here for a permanent, and I'm probably going to have the same opinion.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. It gives us
So-
some, that point in time, we can strategize to that. But I would ask that you give us a shot in terms of knowing that we've got ownership eyes on it, and there's a new regime here, and I understand we need to prove things to you.
And I'm
to you
only
all.
doing this because you have stipulations from the town, right? Like,
Yeah.
they are fierce objectors. The police chief will drive here. Like, I have seen him here to voice his objection.
Yeah.
He's no joke.
Right.
So, with that, it's also our job to help you make this work. So I'm going to vote to approve with acoustic live music, DJs, no dancing, 6 security guards minimum, more as needed, manager in place, 75 patrons, I'm going to give you 75 inside and 25 outside. I'm going to try to take this as far liberal as I can, because I don't think that's what this means. But I'm going to give you 75 inside and 25 outside.
I mean, the tented area you're talking about. Yeah, as
Yes.
a connect. Yeah, okay.
Close no later than 4 a.m. That means last call is 3:30.
Right. Okay, and if we can straighten out the occupancy board.
Yes,
yeah,
and if you
okay.
can straighten out the
Yeah, I understand.
occupancy,
Yeah, okay, yep.
you are welcome to come back at
Yeah.
any point.
Very much appreciated.
Commissioner Ford?
Yeah, you're in the hot seat.
My concern about all of this was running the same type of operation that got us where we are here today.
Yeah.
So perhaps with these stipulations, as Commissioner Fan has so stated, and if you honestly stick to them, maybe we won't see you again.
Right.
Because if we do see you again, I'm not going to be on your side.
Sure.
So I'm going to vote for everything, as the Commissioner Fan said, security is needed, minimum of 6. You got to get rid of the association with your past here.
Yep.
As the chairman wanted.
Yep.
So maybe if you come back again, that might buy some his favor next time.
Understood.
I'm not really going to make you get rid of common ground, because you got to go, that would kind of kill the summer
Yeah.
for you.
I appreciate
and all the time
that.
To get that done.
Yeah.
So, but if you come back again, that may be the least of the issues that I stipulate on you. So
Right.
with all of that, I'm going to vote to approve.
I'm voting to deny. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
I don't know that I need to warn you.
I think we've
Reiterated what we did warn, but they are going to call us immediately.
We know it.
I probably will be back, hopefully never for that. So, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I ask that we take a brief recess?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back on the record shortly.
the next.
All right, we're back on the record after a brief
Next meeting.
Sorry, I just.
You mean this mic?
Yeah.
The feedback we're getting?
Yeah.
All right, so we're back on the record after a brief recess. Next is item number 987. That's Fresh Cilantro LLC.
Good morning, my name is Frank Palillo. I have with me.
Hi, good morning. My name is Pietro Quaglia.
Good morning.
We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Frank, the photos, are those the intended premises or at the basement?
It's an issue. We're waiting for the building department to actually make that determination. Landlord says first floor. Prior CBO from 1954 says below ground. To me, it looks like it's below ground because there's 3 steps down.
Yeah, it does look below
So
ground.
it looks to me like it's the basement.
Here, I'll.
The landlord keeps saying it's the first floor, so.
I just have some,
So it looks like.
something to clarify in the application.
Yes, sir.
You got the chef is working till 12 a.m.
Right next door.
It says you're open until 2 a.m. Thursdays through Saturdays.
Correct. I mean, the chef leaves, but there are cooks who are there in the kitchen still operating. But the chef leaves at 12 o'clock.
They have probably.
He'll be doing most of the cooking.
And who's managing? Because in the in the method of operation form, it says the principal is not going to manage, when in his personal questionnaire, he says he's going to manage.
The principal, as you probably know, Pietro, has the premises directly next door. So he will be managing as well as a manager in place.
So it's going to be both then?
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
The community board is strongly not in favor of this.
Strongly?
Yeah.
Committee was not in favor. The fact that they're not here today, Carter usually appears for these things.
I don't take his non-appearance as withdrawing their
No, I'm not saying it's withdrawn either. This is a restaurant that's directly next door to Pietro's restaurant that he's operated for 6 years.
I know, but I think what they're saying is that he didn't abide by any of the things that they agreed to last time, so why should they trust him now?
What things did he not agree to?
that he wouldn't have outdoor seating, and you.
They never asked us for that. We told them what we were doing, they voted afterwards. I don't think outdoor seating.
You told them you were changing your front and covering up your basement access and putting seating there?
Never.
No,
Never said that.
never.
How could we get into the premises?
I don't want to even do it.
I'm talking about the seating that you have outside. Because they take the position that you agreed to not have that.
Are we talking about, we were never offered a stipulation, Commissioner. So it's hard for us to break terms that we were never offered. But are you talking about open restaurant seating?
No, I'm talking about the seating that's right outside your.
We're talking about that little area where the steps go down.
We don't have seating.
You're saying there is no seating?
Never done. Never even.
Okay, are we looking at this application?
That's my restaurant.
Yeah,
Or
I
the
know.
place next door?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the old restaurant.
Your
current.
Your
Yeah, my
current
current restaurant. That's my current
That
restaurant.
has the seating.
Yeah, that's for.
Have you ever been there, Mr. Palillo?
Oh,
Yes.
So he has.
I went to the place next door.
He has seats
She's talking about that place.
outside.
That's what she's talking about.
I appeared at these premises to self-certify the application that's before you. Did I actually enter the other premises? No.
No, you don't have to enter. This is on the street, right outside the place.
But
where
that's
you-
open restaurant seating.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
They
is.
came many times to check on.
We only have that because of COVID.
Yeah. Only that for the only reason.
So you built that after COVID started?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, like everybody
Because
else.
this looks like new, this looks like a whole
No.
same coat of paint to me.
No.
No, that's like that table. It gets pulled out. We just built it during COVID.
We never used any
I never
sidewalk
had
area.
I never had any for 6 years. I never put a table out there.
And are you planning to put tables outside of this place?
Absolutely no.
Well, it's, the community board is under the.
But that's not true. It's
But,
not-
but it looks as though the community was right, because I believe it is the seller, as Commissioner Ford asked. We are not eligible for open restaurant seating anyway. So we're not going to be doing it.
I asked for permission to get the seatings at Pietro Nolita, the pink place, but the sidewalk is not 14 feet, so I cannot get permits, so I cannot have any seating outside.
And in the 500-foot questionnaire, you did indicate that no outside seating was planned.
Exactly.
By that time, I think we knew.
So that little hole that's still there, you don't plan on closing that up? Because you have outside seating now for your current restaurant.
To tell you the truth, Miss, I don't like open restaurant because it's not. I have a small kitchen, and I'm happy to have only my 30 seats that I have inside, and it's fine. And also,
Yeah,
next,
but you have a giant pink outside seating
Yeah,
there
and-
now. You're telling me you don't want that?
it's because they give it to me for free, but I'm not gonna. I'm not going to.
This was this licensee's lifeline during COVID.
That was the only thing I could do during COVID. Inside, nobody wanted to come in. I have 30 seats inside.
But it's still there.
Yes, because they allow me to.
We're still allowed to use it.
Yeah.
I know, but don't say, we're pretty much past COVID. People are coming inside.
What I said was, this was his lifeline during COVID.
Right, but it's not his lifeline now, is the point I'm making, yet
No.
it's still there.
Right, but
Yeah.
again, it's legal according to the city of New York.
Yes, I'm not doing any.
But it is legal according to the city of New York, but the community board is saying it wasn't something that they allowed.
They didn't allow any seating before COVID.
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
We agreed to no seating 6 years ago, but COVID changed everything.
Yeah.
And as long as we can continue to use it, and I don't know if July 1st is still the deadline for them to,
I think it's October.
October
They
1st.
did it, or,
They extended or what?
yeah. I don't know what the city did,
I
but.
think they extended it to October 1st.
Well, they didn't sign it yet, but it's passed.
Notwithstanding, you've never seen this
I
licensee
mean,
before.
in the STIPS in 2016, it definitely says over and over again, no outdoor space use, no sidewalk cafe. All outdoor furniture will be removed, no exterior furniture, benches, seats, tables, umbrellas.
Commissioner, in 2016, that's what we agreed to, and that's what we lived up to until mid-20.
Right.
I get that, but I think what they're saying is that they can't trust you.
Because of COVID? Did they indicate that we had seating before COVID? No.
No,
And-
I don't, I believe you didn't have it before COVID. I'm not questioning.
And
it.
we're not going to have it at this
I don't know
location.
how useful it is now if you're telling me that it's still there and you're not interested in expanding your restaurant, at least this one.
This one, we're not going to use it. We're not using, we can't, we're not ground level.
I know, but plenty of people do what they can.
It would be a stipulation.
How come you can do it with your prior one?
It is ground level.
No, it's not. They're both, it's 3 steps down.
Oh, then, yeah, how are you doing that?
DOT approved it. DOT approved it, and it's a good question.
No, I always follow the rules. It's
No,
like
you don't.
But if DOT approved it and gave him open permits use,
Yes.
why is that an issue? And we're all
The
presuming.
issue is that there's only one sliver of space left on that street for any parking, and
And we
if
won't be
you put
using,
an outdoor
and we won't be
cafe
using it.
there, you will close up that last 40 feet of space that's there.
We will not be using it.
I know, but you basically just lied. I mean, I don't
didn't
know what
lie.
to say.
I don't,
Well,
I think we're gonna run the
you're
tape on
saying
that
You're
one.
entitled to it with your current restaurant, but you're not, because the restaurant is also 3 steps down.
Commissioner, I'm entitled to it if DOT gives me a permit and says use it. How am I lying?
Well, you just told me that you're not gonna get it because it's 3 steps down.
And we're not even
So you
applying for
also
it.
get 3.
It'll be a stipulation that we won't even apply. We don't want it, it's so small.
I think we have more trouble than it's worth for.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know.
It's
No,
3
I mean,
tables.
You can totally expand the one that you have now that's all painted pink and very loud on that street.
Why is it loud? The
Because
color?
it's completely painted pink. Your restaurant and your outdoor cafe are painted completely pink. And I like pink. I'm
But
not
it's
saying
not,
that it's a
you're not
problem.
saying it's a loud premises.
No,
I mean, it's a loud
not
color.
a loud color.
Oh, I hate pink.
It comes from the pastel colors of the Italian Riviera and the Memphis group, which is the architectural movement of the 80s in
We're
Milan.
not,
I get why, but I'm just saying that
we will not use it, we will not apply for it. We don't need it. It's 3 tables. It's 3 tables, it's not worth it. I think you have to really take into consideration this licensee's record.
It's not just the record. There's 22 full OP licenses within 500 feet.
And this is an extraordinarily small restaurant.
And he has an extraordinary small one next door, but it is another license.
And that extraordinary small restaurant next door has never been an issue. Not to the neighbors.
That's not what the 500-foot law is about.
No.
And you know it, and I know it.
Hope the 500-foot rule is about public interest. And if you don't think that the licensee's experience is a public interest argument, it most certainly is.
Yeah, frozen cocktails.
I mean, if the members,
Well, they can't serve it on the street. You can't drink it on the street. People do to go.
if the members feel more confident, they're willing to close it.
nothing's gonna happen.
Willing to close it.
That's,
Yeah.
that, I didn't pass that law.
If the members are concerned, Pietro's indicated he's willing to close midnight, 7 days a week. It's a restaurant, it's not,
That's all you applied for.
no, 2 a.m. on the weekends.
2 a.m. Saw somewhere that it says.
I live 3 blocks away too.
Should also note that Pietro lives 3 blocks away from the premises. He will be the chef at the premises, as he is at his place currently. This is hands-on, this isn't extraordinarily small footprint.
I know, and I'm just worried that you don't have any space inside, so everybody's gonna be taking the cocktails and standing on the street with it.
Commissioner, we have a very small location right now, and we're not doing that type of thing. Pietro works with small places. This location has been vacant for like 7 years next to him,
No, more.
more than 7 years.
But you're gonna run a separate kitchen,
Yes.
but the current space have more seats than what this is, right? You said the current space is 30 seats.
It's 25, what, counting the outside as well?
No, just
Just inside, yeah, between 25 and 28.
And this current spot?
It's gonna be probably the same.
I mean, the one thing I'm questioning is, and I realize this community board is, for lack of a better term, fed up with the amount of licenses down there. But usually they do at least put forth some stipulations that they're willing to live with, particularly a place this small. And they didn't.
They did not.
Why?
I
Never discussed it with them? There was no.
Well, it's a Zoom, so they take our presentation, then they vote privately. They asked us, would we agree to certain things? We said yes. And we find out afterwards, because they go into executive session, you find out afterwards they disapproved it.
They do all their votes in executive session?
Yes. They call executive session, the public can watch it, but they can't contribute.
I didn't agree with everything the community board.
No, it's a general.
Yeah, concluded here that's in their letter. That there are other places that were licensed before that would be more appropriate.
Unfortunately, I don't mean to interrupt, I'm sorry. But unfortunately, it's a very convenient thing for community boards to say, when you do find a place that has a licensed premises before, then there's another reason why they don't want it.
Well, if
No
there's
one,
so many others, vacant store fronts in the immediate area, why not here? Same area, right?
and it's been vacant for how many years?
No, I mean, more than 7.
More than 7 years.
Used to be a bakery in the 70s.
Anyway.
All right.
Can we vote?
Yep.
What color are you going to paint this place?
Good question. It's going to be tangerine orange.
That didn't help you.
That didn't help.
Oh,
Could we?
A muted tangerine orange.
Very muted.
it's like
Very muted.
it's almost beige.
Not,
Beige
not
tangerine.
Miami orange.
No, not bright.
Color, it's called cilantro. You can't make it green?
Well, fresh, yeah. Well, because it's Mexican, but yeah, because it matches good with the pink. You know, green is the opposite of
In what
pink.
world?
What?
Orange and pink?
Yeah, apparently. it's a
Stomach's
trend.
starting to hurt.
All
Those
right.
are,
It's very
those are
passive.
companion tones. You don't know this?
Exactly.
Green and pink.
I'm muted tangerine. I'm muted.
Mute. No, it's not gonna be bright. It's gonna be pastel.
They literally like building a tree.
I never anticipated that question.
Eh,
You need to prepare better.
I think I
It's
did.
going to be on the application now.
New question on that.
It's gonna be a lot of.
I'm muted.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Benefit of being me.
white clothes involved. But like, no,
So there's no way it can remain the charcoal, whatever that it looks now.
Are you talking,
black. Yeah, yeah.
you talking about this color?
Yeah, it's gonna be more like beigey.
It's better than, it's not tangerine, it's better than charcoal. I mean,
Are they afraid because it's too bright?
yes, they're afraid that it's garish for the neighbors.
Donald, let's go.
I'm very
All right.
on Instagram.
All right. I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions: recorded background music only,
Absolutely.
midnight across the board, bathroom waivers, okay? No outdoor seating, no open table, no open restaurant, and no outdoor seating, just so that you don't close off that one sliver of space.
Understood.
I'll approve with the same steps.
I'll approve as well, but please, you know, the other thing the community board mentioned is your failure to pick up the trash in an effective manner. And I know you like the pink color, and I get that, but it looks like you painted half of the street pink. You
No,
have
no.
Well, you have the tree box
tree.
painted pink, you have all of your tables painted pink. I think you probably should mute this down a little bit on
I
this
will.
one. And then make sure the trash is picked up. You're not gonna have outside seating, so that should eliminate that problem. I'll vote to approve as well, under the same conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Next is 986, Mia Steak and Sushi Lounge Court.
Good morning, Frank Palillo. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is William Aponte.
It's a question of temporary permit. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Manager here?
No, she's not.
No, she's away right now.
Where is she?
She's on vacation.
Do you know where? Where?
And who's Marcus? Marcus is your
Marcus is his son.
son? And he works at the restaurant too?
Yeah, he helps me out sometimes, yeah.
How do you know the manager, Miss
Souffrant?
Souffrant?
I used to visit sometimes the restaurant on Yonkers Avenue.
Called what?
Duo's restaurant on Yonkers Avenue.
Do you know what happened to that restaurant?
What's that?
Do you know what happened to that restaurant?
Do you know what happened to the restaurant?
I heard there was a problem there, yeah.
So she used to work there?
Right.
Was
she
she
left before that happened, though. She wasn't there.
Was she the manager there?
Yes, she was. She was. But she wasn't there at the time that, you know, she saw things weren't going well, she told me. So she left before anything like that.
License was
happened.
suspended and canceled because someone got
Yeah.
killed there.
Really?
All right, so just for the record, Duos Tapos and Bar and Lounge at 748 Yonkers Avenue had a manager. It was not Yesenia Souffrant. It was Thomas Tortorello. We know it was Mr. Tortorello because his name was mentioned in multiple police reports.
Right.
When there were multiple visits for multiple problems during the period that Ms. Souffrant states in her personal questionnaire she was the manager of the location. She identifies her period of service as January 2016 to December 2021. We spent a lot of time investigating the place. Nobody ever heard of her before. So it's hard for me to understand why she would call herself the manager there. As far as leaving before there was trouble, according to the date she put down, December 2021, that was before the shooting, but not before the trouble started. The place was a focal point for police attention in the period that she claims to have been the manager there.
And how do you know the guy that owns this place that you bought?
I didn't know the guy that bought the place.
How did you find it?
The place was closed. My son told me that he used to go there sometimes. He saw it was closed. Okay, we had been looking for other places beforehand.
Yeah, I was just going to mention.
Yeah.
Mr. Ponte has been searching for a premises.
What did you pay for this place?
We bought the equipment for $25,000.
And would it surprise you if I told you that the guy you bought it from paid $250,000 a short time before that?
No, he would purchase the going business. We're purchasing nothing, tables and chairs and kitchen equipment.
So he walked away from
Well,
$225,000 you're selling it.
yeah. And as I was saying, Mr. Ponte first contacted me in 2019 in the purchase of a restaurant in Northern Boulevard in Jackson Heights called La Gloria. That deal fell apart. Mr. Ponte then came to see me in February of 20 to purchase a restaurant called Calais Bar at 3638 Bailey Avenue in the Bronx. Mr. Ponte, these deals keep falling through for various reasons. He found this location because it was closed. He has no relationship with the prior operator, doesn't know the prior operator.
Who is I see you borrowed $175,000 or approximately that?
Correct.
What's Eastern Funding?
It's a capital funding group. I understand it's the same company that the prior people used, but we didn't know about that. We had no clue. He was talking to Eastern Funding on the other two bars also. I mean, it was helpful that Eastern Funding held the UCC on the equipment, made an easier transition.
So
But
you're saying there's no other...
there's absolutely no relationship between Mr. Teneo and Mr. Ponte.
No.
Members ready to vote?
Hey. You plan on being there, or are you going to keep your job?
Well, I'm
pharmacist?
semi-retired. I'm a registered pharmacist. I work like 2 days a week. So I will be there also, yes.
Full-time? Full-time?
Yeah, yeah.
You're the one who signed these checks in the bank records?
Yes, ma'am. And I was in the pharmacy business for many years, licensed pharmacies as the supervising pharmacist. Never had any issues.
We're entering a whole different arena.
Yeah. But, just stating that, I understand the need to follow the law.
It says you're going to manage it every day from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Not that it's extraordinarily relevant, but I would mention that we just recently complied with the community board's requests for information late April, and we have not heard anything back, which usually is a presumption they have no problem with the place.
Yeah. They were notified back in October. You said you responded with some more information.
Yeah, they only got to us like in March or early April for whatever reason. Actually, that was the first notification. I think another notification went out after January 1st to include the temporary.
Okay.
I don't know. I would really like to, but there are just too many holes here. I'm going to vote to deny.
Commissioner Ford.
I'm sorry, but what holes?
The lender.
Commissioner Fan.
The,
Commissioner Fan, I sent you the bank statements. If this gentleman was a front, he wouldn't be paying the note. He's paying the note in a business that's not opened. He's paying a note in exact accordance with the promissory note. The first three payments are interest
All right,
alone.
we're voting. Let's go. Yeah. I'm all right with the funding. I'm going to vote to approve.
And Chairman Bradley.
What are the hours of this place?
I have those. 3 p.m. to 4 a.m., 7 days a week. I don't think there was ever a problem with the operation itself.
So you're gonna have to change managers. She's
We're
gone.
not married to her.
Okay,
And you need to put a new personal questionnaire in for the new manager.
okay.
You're gonna, hours are Monday through Thursday, 1 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 2 a.m. And I'll approve.
And Commissioner Ford, you okay with the stipulations?
Yes.
Can I ask a procedural question? Does this matter also need to come to the full board for the final?
No.
So once the final is approved, I'd come back to change the hours.
Oh, this is a 10.
It's a 10.
Yeah, it does, yes.
So it's coming back in 3 months? Okay, no.
Yeah, so.
At that point,
He's aware of that risk. If we take that temp away, more than likely he's not getting the permanent.
and what that risk is our ability to show what we are and what we're doing.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 996, ELENA ZABALA.
Just ELENA. Frank Palillo, good afternoon. I have with me ELENA ZABALA, who doesn't speak a whole lot of English, but the lady here is willing to to translate.
Move closer to her?
You also introduce.
Your name?
Elena Zavala. Elena Zabala.
Soldali Aracena.
Is this license in safekeeping because she's gonna shut, or?
She's is being transferred.
Okay.
Now you're answering, not translating.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's being transferred
Her
for
daughter-in-law.
my sister.
Okay.
There's a
But are,
We're asking your mother. Is that your mother?
Yes.
Yeah, so ask your mother, and she
Okay.
can tell us through you.
Okay. Tú estás transfiriendo la licencia. Tú estás transfiriendo la licencia. Yes. I'm transferring to her daughter.
Okay.
There's an application been filed. We issued a temporary retail permit on 5/18, the date that the license was put in safekeeping.
Oh, so they already have their temp, so why don't you just turn it in? Surrender. All right,
I wasn't aware of this whole transaction.
Oh, I'll accept the 3,500.
I'll go to,
She was gonna save us money. She was gonna save us money.
I was gonna go to
All
25.
right, 2,500.
2,500.
Thank you. Have a good 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah.
it's 3
You're
weeks.
welcome.
Next is 1023, that's Swirl Merriment Restaurant and Occasional Hall.
These were people that were here last time, and then the landlord sent us a letter saying that they're getting evicted. For you.
1023.
1023.
Good morning. Hi, can you put your name on the record?
Anthony Inofe.
So last time, we got a letter from your landlord,
So
right?
who's the applicant?
If you can put all three of your names.
Raymond Williamson.
You got to speak up.
Raymond Williamson.
Rosemary Williamson.
Husband and wife?
Yeah.
And how, are you related to them?
I'm a son.
Son, okay. Is this the one last time we got a letter from your landlord saying you were going to be evicted? Did that get worked out?
Yes.
Yes.
We're working on the lawyer.
Working on it.
Yes.
What'd you say?
We're working on it.
Okay, well, you need to finish working on it before you come back.
Well, you have no connection to the previous owners, correct?
No.
How long ago did you sign the lease?
It's about to be a year and a half. We're going to 2 years.
So you're open right now?
Yes.
Without liquor?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's I don't care.
And your rent is $8,000 a month right now.
I wanted to say, so that is what is really holding us back.
Could you come to the microphone?
We can't hear you. Speak at the microphone, please.
During the corona, when it
Oh,
was
keep going. Keep coming closer to the mic.
You can pull it down a little bit.
This whole thing's being taped, so if we can't hear you, the tape can't hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
During the corona, we were closed and we don't have a liquor license, and we're paying $8,000 there every month. So that's what we're telling the landlord. Once we get this liquor license, to help us to boost our earnings so that we can be able
So
to
you're behind on the rent is why he's evicted.
yeah. Because during the corona was closed down, we're still paying the rent.
Okay.
So that's what we're planning.
All right. I'm ready.
So are you going to use this as an event space? Because your name suggests that you're an occasional hall.
Yes. So it's a restaurant because we have it's like two sides. So the first side is a restaurant, and the other side is an occasional hall. So if somebody's doing like a birthday event, we rent out the hall so they can do like birthday event or like baby
Okay.
shower. Or
But the
wedding.
restaurant side will not close when you do the
No.
private event.
No, because it has like two entrances.
And what's the seating in the hall area?
The seating for the whole area was 69. 69.
69 in the hall area, and how many in the restaurant?
About
Same. Almost, because of the seating, maybe like 50.
No. About the same.
Because of the seating. Because of the seating.
I mean, the max occupancy is 69 and they have seats for 56.
I know, but they have two sides. They're doubling it.
I think that's both.
No, it's not. They just said that it's
I
69.
know, I think that the wrong.
One is 61, something.
Tom, am I right?
I'm looking at pull out the diagram here. 'Cause
Probably more like 35 each side.
I go back to, hold on for a second here.
No, I mean, there's this restaurant that has seats. And then there is this hall.
Right, I think the total occupancy together is 15, it's 16.
I hear you.
Well, that's not that big.
Listen to they talk.
But that's just not what they said, sir.
What part? So where the bar is that the restaurant side?
Yes, the restaurant.
And then the other room is where you're gonna do the events?
Yeah.
So there's 69 on one side and 69 on the other side.
You sure? You want to take it on? It's.
Do you have a certificate of occupancy?
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
That says 200.
Okay, and they are right. Okay.
Okay, but that's not what the application says. Because you only apply for 69 seats.
No,
On one side.
One side.
No, but you can't do it that way, okay? If you're licensing the whole area, you gotta tell us what the occupancy is of the whole space.
The other is not it's not even one something.
No. So the previous owner who had the business before, when they was running the business, that's what was the occupancy, the time.
Because
the
what?
amount. That was the amount of people from before.
Yeah.
Because
It's not like something.
it's supposed to be
No,
more than
I'm okay with, I'm just asking you, because your application said 69. If I actually lock you in at 69,
No, that's from
you
the-
only
that's
have
from the previous
69.
owner, though.
It's the same. You can't change it.
You can't.
How you gonna
I mean,
change
they
it?
basically-
That's what was gonna get before.
Right.
It's 69, 69. That's
That's the
it's
event
session.
space?
We can't have, multiple people talking.
Do showers and stuff, it's not gonna be a sit down.
Yeah.
The club, the catering hall's not gonna be a sit down.
That's the event space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Just tell them they can only use it for private events.
No, they have them.
What kind of music?
Say what kind of music? It's regular music.
No,
It's background music only, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they put it you put it for recorded music and live
Jazz,
music,
salsa.
right? And no dancing.
Can't say we did lose. I want to talk. I want to
Basically a restaurant, and the half of it's gonna be a club.
Not down what they talk.
That's the plan anyway.
I mean, that's, they wanna use it for parties, so you're not wrong.
Right.
Huh?
It's not the person.
Then you're just the three people working there now, just the three of you?
Yeah, me, my wife.
It's been hard. It's hard to keep the place going.
I know.
Yeah.
You have a manager or no manager?
We're trying to get. We have one right now trying to help us, but it's hard because we can't pay the rent. I can't sleep at night. It's been very depressed.
Okay.
We took the place 3 months COVID, and we have to close down. It's very depressed.
I understand that, but but now we have this. I mean, maximum occupancy is 69, which is not what they just said.
I know, but the C of O is what we go by.
200.
Now, you can limit that below 200. You certainly can put a number on it yourself.
I don't care. I just want to know what the real number is.
It's 200.
There's a patio on the ground floor, but no alcohol served. All right. All right. I'm going to vote to approve with the following conditions. Midnight across the board. Recorded music, live salsa and jazz, no dancing. You can have parties in the hall side, but not private events as in the whole place is closed. There's no use of promoters. There's no selling of tickets of any kind for events.
Yes, ma'am.
And principal to manage security as needed if it becomes a situation where you have more people attending a party, bring in a security person to just watch the space.
You have a question?
No, she said when you security.
You have to talk in the microphone. I can't hear you.
license.
You said something about security. I have my security license. So I
Okay,
have my
good.
license security.
Then you can be the security guard, but you have to keep track of your hours and all that.
Yeah, no, because I'm
200 max occupancy.
You're in school, but you can help someone.
You need to figure out what your occupancy is and update your application. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Because your application says 69, you guys obviously don't think it's 69. You're allowed to have more by law, so you figure out what the numbers are and please update your application.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what how they call it, the FDNY, where they came, they saw the certificate of occupancy. They say if we want to do it, then we have to update it. But for now, we should be using the 69. That's what the.
Okay, 69 total?
No.
For.
They include the hall also. So
Yeah,
if you want
for
more,
now, if we use it.
I know, but I'm just saying that your whole application, which includes both, I said 69. So if you want more than that, you need to just update your application
that's
to
what I
reflect
said,
the
yeah.
number.
Yeah, that's what they said.
You are allowed to have 200, but I'm just saying that, how many bathrooms you have?
3.
For both sides?
No, 2 this side, 1 this side.
See, this is one of the other discrepancies, because the diagram showed 5 restrooms, and the form said 3 restrooms. It almost seems as though they only put the application in for the restaurant side, not for the hall side.
Well, that's clearly not their intent.
It's 3.
So listen, there's something called an establishment questionnaire that you filled out, all right? You need to go back with your representative and fix the answers you put in to match what you're really doing. Because what you submitted to us only is for the restaurant side. So the number of bathrooms doesn't match, the occupancy doesn't match, it needs to all match, okay?
You can do that after we give you the license. You just need to do that. You understand?
In a reasonable amount of time,
Yeah, don't ignore it, because if investigators go in there and your application looks like this, you're gonna get a violation.
No,
I'm gonna be honest, it's simple to do, it really should be a condition of approval, because otherwise, no one's ever gonna track and follow up on
Yeah,
it.
so it is a condition of approval. I'm just trying to help you. It's more work now, but just please fix it, because if you end up with 150 people and there's a problem, you're gonna lose your license, and that's not what we want. So just fix it before you actually get your license issued.
It's called the establishment questionnaire. It's in the paperwork.
Yeah, and 3 bathrooms is not enough, so you should have more bathrooms.
The video of this meeting is on YouTube. So you can go and watch it with your representative to figure out what you need to do. Okay?
Yes, Commissioner Ford. Have
Yes.
you voted yet? Yes.
I'm fine with that, yes.
Stipulations.
Yes.
And Chairman Breyer.
I'll vote to approve. So you've been approved conditionally, your license. Go fix the establishment questionnaire, hand it in, and you will get your license. Okay?
Thank you.
You got it?
Thank you.
It should take a couple days at most.
Okay, good luck.
All right. Good luck.
So I should go back to the guy that did everything, should tell him this.
Yeah, tell them to fix it, yes.
Tell them to watch this video. Okay?
Okay.
It's all on YouTube. Tell them to watch the video for his instructions.
And if he charges you more money, call me. Because he's the one who screwed it up.
I'm telling you.
I know.
All right, good luck. Bye.
Next is 1025. That's a request for declaratory ruling, Salute Bar and Grill LLC.
Yeah.
Good morning, members of the authority.
Hello, good afternoon, members. My name is Jim Ramirez, representing Salud Bar and Grill, 1413 Bushwick Avenue. I'm here for a change of class to full liquor. Father Sully could not come in today. I submitted 3 letters from the church, and I'm here with my representative, Aurelia Taveras, and I'll leave it with her right now.
Good morning, members of the authority. First, I'd like to congratulate the members for their, I noticed that a new bill was signed by the governor helping members with violations. Thank you. We appreciate that. Going forward, I'm here for a change, a declaratory ruling, requesting on behalf of the applicant, Salute Bar and Grill, requesting a change in class based on the disqualifying a church within 200 feet of the location. The applicant has provided letters itemizing the use of the establishment as non-exclusive via written admissions by the Reverend himself from the church, and I have provided a past submission on behalf of Grito Mexican Grill, another owner whose change in class was approved based on the disqualification of a church within 200 feet of their location. And in that ruling, the members of the authority ruled in favor of the applicant with less of an evidentiary standard as we have here, what you're requiring here of me today. Then there was no priest.
I don't know whether you're misspeaking. The evidentiary standard is the same. There's not 2 different standards being applied. So I don't know whether you're misspeaking or you're.
Perhaps I'm misspeaking. Then let me reword my.
It's written in law.
Let me reword it. It was approved with a lesser submission of information than was approved than they're requesting from us here today. The Reverend has submitted 3 letters, not once, not twice, but a 3rd time, and was here the last time, but he was unable to, he didn't go on for various reasons. But we have even the Reverend testifying or on paper that they do not use the church for exclusive church-related activities. In the Grito Grill instance, and also I'll even throw it in there, but I didn't add it in. The El Conde in Washington Heights, where the United Palace is. You approved a change in class for El Conde, and all we had to show was a couple of flyers showing that the church had activities that were unrelated to the exclusive use of the church's premise. So here I submitted in letters from the.
Can I just stop you for a second?
Sure.
This is why we need the records that you're referring to when you make a point during a meeting. You raised the Grito Grill case. You now pointed that out to us in a supplemental submission. The legal question here is whether the predominant nature of the building is as a church, or a house of worship. In that case, over 60% of the building was occupied by an adult rehabilitation center. That's over 60%. So it's hard for the board. First of all, the board did not rule on that case. It didn't get to the board. It was ruled on in the licensing bureau.
Okay.
But the issue is a building that's that's 60%, more than half, occupied by some other business, predominantly a church? The answer in that case was no. But this isn't a circumstance where, as far as I can tell, there's any other business or pursuit occupying the building, much less something that was more than 50%. So I think those are distinguishable circumstances. For what it's worth, that's my view.
And that was the question I had, which I had last time, and I asked you to bring some level of documentation.
I did.
This.
I brought
That's the question I'm about to ask, so you don't know what I'm about to ask.
Okay.
What is in this building right now besides the church?
Well,
you keep talking about things in your papers that he wants to do, that he intends to do. I don't have a lease in front of me that shows he's actually doing it.
Okay, I will add this. The COVID environment has changed the way everyone operates. I submitted in a lease that ended into.
How we operate.
May I? You are correct, Chairman Bradley. In 2014, this location was rented for non-church related activities to an adult daycare, pre-kinder and an adult daycare. May I finish? And this lease ended in 2017, and the tenant stayed there on a month-to-month basis until COVID hit in 2019. There's no one being rented there now because he wants to rent it again, but the location's under construction on the ground floor. And you have letters from the church. I even provided you with a lease.
The letter from the church that he says, I want to do this, I intend to do this, I don't care if the bar is there. That's all great, fine and good, but that's not in the statute. Many churches here wouldn't mind if a restaurant was right across the street from them. Unfortunately, that's not, I can't take that into account. I'd like to. Nothing drives me crazier than this law, particularly in New York City, because there is no discretion on our part. And it's one of the only things there isn't discretion on our part about. And the fact that the pastor doesn't mind that this is there, or that he does intend to rent half his building out to somebody who's not there right now, doesn't help me. And it doesn't help you. Now, if there was a lease, if there was a current lease, or if there was somebody in there month to month, if there was somebody in there month to month, I don't even need the lease. If you had somebody that said, I'm renting the whole ground floor and I'm charging money for people to come in for adult daycare, perhaps you're over the hurdle. But you don't. I mean, that's where I'm at. I don't know where they are.
I just wanted clarity for the applicant also, and the church itself was watching this because they plan to lease. So if that is the standard, that we have a tenant in the location at the time, because in United Palace, it was somebody that was rented here, one day there, one day not there. And on the adult daycare at Greco's church in the Grito Grill incident, they only open a couple of days a week, and the church was there one day a week. So I know this is it's different, and I just wanted a little bit more clarity so that we going forward when we come back, because he's going to rent it inevitably, he'll know that he has a fighting chance if he brings in that paperwork. Is what I'm asking the members of the authority to give us today.
If he rents out the church to an unrelated business, that there is, I don't even need a lease. If it's month to month, I don't think there'd be a problem.
It depends on what the business
Right, it does
is.
depend on what the business is.
The statute, this is a very fact-driven issue, and all right, whatever.
I don't know, I mean, the statute doesn't.
My position is that COVID has changed everything. I think that, yes, there's a statute, but there's so much room for interpretation here, Chairman Bradley. There's so much room, and again, we're struggling. Businesses are struggling. And this disqualifies a whole entire area from liquor licenses, which, yeah, it has. But that's my statement. I understand council's argument. I don't want to.
But now I need to make a statement on the record, because your statement is incorrect. There is not so much room. And the pandemic has no bearing on what the statute says. The facts that we have before us is that there is no other use of this church currently going on right now. None. I'm also not sure how the board would interpret it, but the use that was going on between 2014 and 2017, a pre-kindergarten or adult daycare for the community, depending on the circumstances, might also fall within the language of the statute that says that does not change the predominant character of the building to something other than a church. So it's not entirely clear to me how that fact, if it was true as of today, would play in. And therefore, it won't be clear how whatever new facts come along 6 months from now or a year from now, if the church decides to rent out a portion of the space, would play into that analysis. It's a fact-driven analysis that the board would have to consider each time.
Well, I just want to add that in Grito Grill, it was enough. Grito Grill, it was enough for an adult daycare.
In Grito Grill, 60% of the building was being used for something else. You have 0% of the building being used for something else.
Correct.
All right, Donald, I think we're ready, unless somebody has questions.
I'd like to, if you permit me, Chairman Bradley, the applicant wanted to at least say something on the record, if permitted.
Sure.
Thank you.
But I mean, and this has nothing to do with your business at all. But you can say whatever you want.
It has nothing to do with you or the business.
Right.
Excellent. All right, thank you. We're gonna make 7 years open, Salud Bar and Grill. We're opening November of 2015. We work with the community. We work with everybody there. What happened in the pandemic, we're really struggling to stay open. We are a community-based business. We work with the community in various areas. We have kept our behavior with the liquor authority and do things the way they should be done and according to have a good record. So I feel like this will help us stay in business and perhaps get over the hump and increase our revenue. You know, the liquor to go has really helped out a lot, but it's something that we cannot tap into just because of what we sell. Really, wine to go, it's not a thing, and neither is beer. I feel like this will be something to definitely keep us in business and continue working with the community and being part of the community. Thank you.
And I just want to reiterate, this ruling has zero to do with you or your business or the way you operate it. It's like I said, there's very little discretion on our part here, and it frequently drives me crazy. But
Mr. Fan, are you ready?
I mean, I'm just not seeing enough evidence that the exclusive use is compromised by anything. If someone else goes in and rents the space, maybe, but this is just insufficient right now, so I'm gonna vote no.
Commissioner Ford?
To reiterate what the chairman has said, it's not anything that we have any choice in, and we want you to succeed. We really do. We're not up here to see that people don't, but I don't see that we have the authority to overlook this, so I'm going to have to deny as well.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'm going to deny as well.
Okay. Thank you, members.
Can we take 2 minutes?
Yep. We're going to go off the record for a brief recess. We'll be back shortly.
That's right.
All right, so we're back on the record after a brief recess. Next is 1032. That's BL Food Inc.
What's the number?
It's 1032.
Good afternoon, Terrence Flynn on behalf of the applicant. I have the applicant, Mr. Jose Velasquez, with me. We gave a submission on why we think the license should be approved. I just will briefly go through the hours of business. On Sunday through Wednesday, it would be 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. And on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it would be 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Friday and Saturday, just two?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday to 2 a.m. The occupancy is 48 people. There are 24 seats at tables. There are 10 stools at the bar. There's no outdoor area. There's no live music, no DJ, no promoters.
So it says in the application, no music at all. Is that accurate, or he's gonna have background music?
He originally wasn't gonna have any, but now he would like to have background. If it's possible, I wasn't gonna let it affect this. I would have amended the application, but if you could allow him to have background music, he would.
Is that, and he applied here in 2019 and we denied it. I'm assuming.
That was a full OP. This is only beer and wine. I think, and part of that was the fact that the
DJ.
prior history, and he had DJ and everything else in the method of operation.
Okay.
You're running the restaurant now?
No,
Or
we're not open now, no.
You're not open now.
And he has 3 other licensed places?
Yes, he's on other licenses, that's correct.
Who's running those? Why, he says he's gonna spend 50 hours a week
No,
here.
he has his wife, he has his son now, and his daughter, who have all grown up. It's basically become a family business for them.
Already has no, or very little adverse history, meaningless adverse history. All right, I'm ready now.
Commissioner Fan?
So what's been happening? You've held the lease for this 3 years, or?
He's been working with the landlord. The landlord has let us apply without running up the rent. And this has been pending for a while, and that's why we're here. We changed it to a wine and beer. Originally, there was a OP application, but we found that there was a church nearby, and it was changed over to a tavern wine.
All right. I'm gonna vote to approve 1 a.m. across the board, no dancing, security as needed, manager as needed, background music only, no outdoor service. You can come back for more hours in 1 year.
Commissioner Ford?
I'll approve under the same steps.
And Chairman Bradley?
I'll approve under the same stipulations. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a very nice 4th of July holiday.
Thank you.
Next is 1028. It's a request for declaratory ruling, 239 West 49th Street.
Good afternoon. My client is downstairs coming up. I would ask that this be held
Sure.
over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got one.
Not held over to a different meeting, just until he gets here.
Okay.
Thank you.
1041 La Boom Inc.
(1041).
1041.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Donald Bernstein. On behalf of the licensee, with me is Mr. Pedro Zamora, who is the principal of La Boom. It is a nightclub in the Woodside section of Queens that has been licensed since 2009. This is a CNC seeking to, or offering to pay a $25,000 monetary penalty. This was before you at the last meeting, and the request was made that we appear. What I wanted to tell you this afternoon is what steps Mr. Zamora and his team are taking to avoid this from reoccurring. We understand that some of these allegations and occurrences are serious. I believe Mr. Zamora understands that his license is at risk if anything like this continues. So I urged him, did not take urging. He and his staff has gone back to the drawing board, and I want to fill you in on some of the changes that we are making. Most of these have been implemented already. It is a 4 a.m. license, and starting, I think you've started already, live music will end by 3 a.m., which we think will help people begin to leave, not wait until the final closing hour. Because part of the problem is that a number of these incidents occurred outside. So when everyone leaves at the same time, you have a large group of people, and we want to try to disperse that crowd. So one way of doing that is having the music end, live music ending at 3 a.m. We are also using 2 exits. The exit used to be just on 57th Street. Now there will be 2 exits, one on Northern Boulevard and also one on 57th Street, which we believe will help disperse the crowd. When the club begins closing, we will also send more security guards
How many
outside.
security guards does he have?
Depends on the night, between 17 and 18 security guards. And he also, in February of this year, hired a retired police officer to work as an undercover, sort of plainclothes security guard. If I can just continue with my list, then I'm happy to take any questions. We will end bottle service by 2:30 a.m., so no bottles of alcohol will be served past 2:30. One of the suggestions of the 114th precinct, and Mr. Zamora and his team has met and meets repeatedly with the commanding officer of the precinct, is to close the block on 57th Street that the club is on. And they have assisted him in doing that. And he now places cones between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. that keeps traffic off that street, relieves congestion, and has people disperse in a more efficient manner. There were also 2 to 3 food trucks that parked on 57th Street. Again, the result of that is when people left, they wanted to get something to eat, so there would form lines and crowds outside. He has gotten those food trucks to move off of 57th Street. They are also now not in front of the club any longer, and they're on Northern Boulevard. He also meets daily before he opens with staff, with the managers, with security, to go over the plan on a daily basis so they know what to expect and they are better prepared. He hired a new valet company. There were problems with the valet company. I believe that they were parking cars on the sidewalk. That is not being done, and the new valet staff has instructions with respect to that. Pedro meets with the precinct regularly. They go to the community board meetings monthly just to hear if there's any news in the community or with respect to the club. He has also begun taking sound readings to address any noise issues. And what he has found is that when the club is open, the sound on the block is 5 to 10 decibels higher than the ambient sound. But they also measured the sound by the closest residents and found that it is no higher when the club is open than the ambient sound. So it gives them ability to control noise. And those are the steps that he has taken to avoid reoccurrence.
So this place has an occupancy of, is that 700? Am I reading that correctly?
790.
So looking at the police referrals, I'm looking at the timestamps: 3:45 a.m., 3 a.m., 3:10 a.m., 2:50 a.m., 3:55 a.m., 4:40 a.m., 1 a.m., 1:15, 3:15, 4 a.m., 3:45, 2:40. You know, I think there's a pattern here of the hours of this place, and I don't think. What are you saying? The music to end at 3 and still stay open at 4? That doesn't cut it with me. I think it needs to go back more than that. I don't know where.
I'm with you.
My two.
I'm with you.
Tangents are here, but I'm thinking you need to close like around 1 o'clock, and I really would like to be earlier than that, but I think you need to be closed at 1.
Commissioner Ford, I understand.
Last 3 hours are where all your trouble starts, and I would even say that it was a while ago, but you know it's still been going on to this year, in May. You know, so because a lot of this was back in 2019, some in 2021, but we're still here in 2022, just weeks ago. So you can't tell me that it's been trending down, because it hasn't.
Well, I think we'd like the opportunity to see if these measures do help. It is a nightclub. If he has to close at 1 or 2, he's out of business. He's not going to be able to sustain the business, and he would
Those
have to
extra
close.
2 hours mean that much to him, and that's when all his trouble starts.
Well, it does, and part of the issue is if you close early, it has a chilling effect. So if you close at 2 a.m., at 1 a.m., no one's coming because they're going to go to a nightclub that's going to be open
That,
late.
I think, is the point he's making. He
But
doesn't want that's when those are the people that shouldn't be coming.
I understand the rationale, but the result of that is I think it will kill the business.
Well, it also killed somebody in the parking lot. So I mean, he's making, your conditions are all fine and good, but I think, and maybe, I don't know whether I agree with the 1 o'clock, but I think Commissioner Fan made it clear that she agrees that the hours should be cut back, and as do I. So he's not getting 4 o'clock, so the 3 o'clock closing the music down isn't gonna work. So I think you should already assume that that's not happening of your one condition. The other condition I have is you're gonna have 2 security guards the entire night in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd even willing to go to 2 o'clock. And the 2 security guards, and we'll accept the $25,000 offer as well.
I don't know, where are you?
I'm okay with that. Are you okay?
So what was the closing? Closing 2?
What, are you talking shutting 2 or?
I'm saying closing at 2 o'clock.
So it's still, technically, it's a counter offer. With the $25,000.
Last call 1:30, show ends at 1:30, 2 a.m.
Yeah,
close.
Mr. Bernstein, it's a counter offer. You can decide what you want to do about it. This is a CNC, so
Yeah,
the
I'd have to-
alternative would be to go to hearing and be back here with essentially the same discussion of.
Which you don't have to
Unless you-
decide today.
Right.
No, I understand. I have to speak to my client about that. So
Okay.
your counter is a 1:30 last call. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
And everybody out by 2 a.m., is that?
Yeah, and
is
then
that-
2 security guards in the parking lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Is your client still not here, Mr. Corngut, or is he?
He says he's at security downstairs. All right, so keep going through the other ones.
We'll just go through the
Yeah,
other
we'll go
stuff and then
some.
you can come back.
All right, so 979 is an offer of 2,500.
I'll go to 2,000.
2,000.
Commissioner Ford?
979, 2,000.
980 is an offer of 1,000.
I'll accept.
Accept.
981 and 982 is an offer of 4,500.
I'm gonna go to 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, this is exactly where I was, 2,500.
983, it's a no contest, default at pleading.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
984 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1,500, accept.
985 is an offer of cancellation for the record.
Cancellation for the record.
Cancel for the record.
988 is an offer of 2,500.
I'm gonna counter at 3,500.
3,500.
What number was that again, Don? I'm sorry.
88.
988.
Or you can call them.
And Commissioner Ford, you're okay with the counter offer at 3,500?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so back to 1028. It's a request for a declaratory ruling, 239 West 49th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Corngut. I'm here regarding a request for a declaratory ruling regarding the exclusive use exception of the 200-foot law. I have with me Glenn Isaacs, who is a manager of the hotel at 233 West 49th Street, the Pearl Hotel. As you know, we appeared at a hearing last week, at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. At that meeting, we went in detail about the other licenses, the history and the use of Encore. Commissioner Fan had requested that we bring back a lease from between St. Malachy's and Encore. St. Malachy's was not willing to provide us with a lease. There are a variety of reasons.
Whoa.
Okay.
How, if you're leasing the space, how do you not have a copy of your own lease?
No, this was the lease,
The one with Encore.
the lease between Encore and St. Malachy's. We can only surmise reasons why they would not provided, they cited confidentiality concerns between Encore and St. Malachy's. There are other reasons we can come up with, such as their tax exempt status. We don't know why they wouldn't provide it.
Who does Encore working for? Aren't they in your hotel?
No, they're in St. Malachy's. They're in the basement of St. Malachy's. They occupy the entire.
I see, okay.
Encore rents the space from the church.
I hear that, but I thought we were talking about the space that your hotel rents.
Sorry.
Do we have a lease for that?
We do, we provided that.
Go ahead.
I don't think
We did receive a letter from St. Malachy's which confirms that they do pay rent on a monthly basis. And that was the most information they were willing to provide. As I discussed last time, the uses of the basement by Encore are extensive. If you read the language of the statutory amendment in 2007, it says that the exclusive nature will not be undermined by incidental uses that are not of a nature that detract from the predominant character of the building. I don't think the activities conducted by Encore consist of incidental uses. They're extensive. I provided a list of the activities for April, and they continued in May. They're basically events all day, every day. If you read,
And we went through this already. They're activities for seniors.
seniors in the area, yeah, that's correct.
But not necessarily just seniors. You mind if I speak?
Sure.
And it's a not-for-profit. It says it's a not-for-profit organization that provides care and service to the elderly of the Clinton, Times Square, Midtown communities.
Okay, so let's go to another option here, because I do have a license agreement with the church. I am not a non-for-profit organization. Now, you could tell me that my license agreement, you may not like my license agreement, but I'm renting space from the church. That's part one. Part two is.
Before you get into that and start barking at this board.
I'm not barking at the board.
I want to make it clear that if you're going to sit there and license space from a not-for-profit in order for you to get an on-premise liquor license to try to circumvent a statute that's been around for 85 years.
Sure.
We're going to ignore that licensing agreement.
Okay.
And that's how I perceive that licensing agreement. And if that was advice that your attorney gave to you, I suggest you get a new attorney.
Okay, it wasn't. Secondly, I've been at the building for the last 12 years. E&E Grill House came either before this board 10 years ago to get their first initial license for the state liquor authority for their restaurant. Under the same licensing agreement that Encore had with the church, they did it the exact same way. It's not an arbitrary ruling. I mean, there should be no reason why E&E Grill House got their license
There is
done.
a reason. You want to know the reason?
Yes, I do.
It didn't come before the board.
It actually.
And it was an error.
It was an error. Okay, so it's arbitrary.
The decision to not grant, that decision was arbitrary, yes.
Yeah, well, it's not supposed to be arbitrary. Isn't it supposed to be the same
What I'm
ruling?
telling you is our agency made a mistake.
Council, what's the name of the licensee?
There are three of them.
All right, I had them listed
Like you
here.
said, there was a ruling that was made.
One
It
had
wasn't
to
a
fall
mistake.
out.
It didn't necessarily come before the commissioners, but a decision was made by
Right.
licensing.
And the
at that
question
time.
before the board is, do we apply the law that the statute requires us to apply now? Or do we ignore the law because another applicant, under other circumstances, was granted a license improperly?
Or the question is, did they make that decision in 2011 and just find differently?
There is no written decision. You would have it if it was,
No,
if
there
there
is none.
was. There's no written decision finding that this place of worship is outside the 200-foot rule.
But the existence of the building is
Conrad,
clearly
I mean,
disclosed.
3 places that were listed, I know in council's, or associate council's memo to the board. One was pointed out that there was a legislative carve-out for that location. The second one, as I understand it, claimed there was no place of worship. So they misled the authority. And the third one put forward evidence that it had been continuously licensed since going back to 1981. All right.
Well,
Okay.
E&E is not one of those three, and E&E clearly disclosed that the church, we'll call it the church, was 30 feet within 200 feet. It's on the
So it
statement.
may well have been, as council is kind of getting to, that when this was reviewed by the licensing board, an error was made.
And errors have happened
Right.
since we've been here. We do not compound those errors by continuing. It
We
just
actually
isn't the way
can't.
this works.
There's case law saying we can't do that. If
So-
there's a mistake, we have to fix it.
So this space has been empty for the last 2 years because of COVID. If I am not granted a liquor license for the hotel, this space will remain empty and it will no longer be a restaurant. So the hardship that you're going to be causing,
No, the hardship that the statute caused.
okay, so again, understood that the statute caused that, but in 2011, it was the same statute, and I know you're going to keep saying it was a mistake, but it was done exactly the same way that we did.
To the board.
Okay.
It wasn't done the same way.
All right.
Can we focus on the relationship between Encore and St. Malachy's?
I've already focused on that, and I find that in my view, I don't know where the other commissioners are, in my view, that's consistent with the church. Based on what that not-for-profit does and the activities they're having, that to me is consistent with the church.
But it's not incidental use. The word incidental is in this.
It's not incidental. They're doing yoga classes. How is that incidental to church
How
use?
is bingo? Bingo's incidental.
But the other uses are not incidental. A yoga class is incidental.
There's a list of things in there. Classes are included in that list.
Classes are included, yes. But if you go through the specific examples in the statute,
Listen, I'm not telling you, I'm telling you where I am. You are welcome to take this to a court and have them decide that I'm wrong. You're also welcome to get a carve out, which obviously other people in this neighborhood have already done successfully.
On this church, apparently. It's a legislative solution.
Why do you get the carve out?
I very much
The
respect.
word incidental.
A carve out is just your
It's through
legislature makes a law specific to you that carves you out of this statute. And there's hundreds and hundreds of them in this statute already.
Okay. And the license agreement that the hotel has with the church, you just saying
I
that?
don't like the motivation.
Could
and the
there be
intent of that.
anything more incidental than your license that does not change the predominant nature of the church than a contract established purely to evade the
So
enforcement
the
of
church
the law?
is evading the law, the church?
I don't think the church had any clue they were evading the law.
They,
You are.
they gave us the license agreement and the father signed it.
Yeah.
So obviously they knew what they were doing.
Is helping you evade the law.
I don't believe that to be the case. Because why would,
What are you storing there?
I'm storing actual supplies from the
What
hotel.
supplies?
Towels, sheets,
There's no room in the hotel to
pillowcases.
store those
There is
there?
no other room in the
And
hotel to
It's a
store those.
coincidence that you got that license.
We-
to
we
store-
believe-
Excuse me, let me finish. It's a coincidence you got that license right when you applied for this
No,
declaratory
we actually
rule?
had the license before when E&E Grill House was there as well. We've had it for the last 10 years. So it's not a
That's not what the
coincidence.
paperwork we received said.
Because there's a new license agreement because there was a new administration that was at the church. But this license agreement was with the church before. I mean, you could look at it how you want to perceive it, but I'm just telling you how it is perceived by us. We're storing linens, we're storing sheets. The church is allowing us to do that. It's for a profit basis for the church. And I think that you're arbitrarily deciding.
We're rehashing what we went over
I'm
already.
looking at the outside of the church. 2 out of the 3 entrances is marked Encore Community Center. There's a flag flying saying Encore.
It's a separate entrance.
I think, yeah, there are 2 separate entrances. I think I have to agree with the applicant that the use is compromised, so I'm going to
Okay, Don, we can vote.
vote to say that this is non-exclusive use as far as the church.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ford?
I'm really just looking at what a person walking on the street would perceive, which is that there are 2 out of the 3 entrances is actually something else.
I don't see it that way, and I'm going to vote to deny.
And Chairman Bradley?
And I don't see it that way either, so I'm voting to deny.
thank you.
Have a good day. So back to
I'll stack.
Yep.
989.
That's no contest default at pleading.
I'm at cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Second, I get back to my other format here. 989, you said?
Yes.
Cancel and bond, yes.
990 is a no contest default at pleading.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Commissioner Ford, did you say cancel and bond?
Yes.
Okay. 991 is a no contest default at pleading.
Back to counsel's office.
Yeah, back to counsel's office.
Counsel, yes.
992 is a no contest default.
Cancel for the record.
Cancel for the record.
993 is an offer of 1,500.
I'll accept 15.
Accept.
994 and 995 is a no contest default at hearing.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
997 is an offer of 1,500.
This is, they said we will do 1,500 and give us the bond, which they want to reduce to 1,000 and pay the bond. Isn't it less money if they pay the 15 and take the bond?
We're not taking the bond.
I know, but in the letter, it says that they will give us 1,000 and give us the bond. Oh, no, no. They want to lower to 1,000 and then consider it paid by the bond.
Yeah, they're asking for it to be lowered to the bond, which is the $1,000. So they're asking you to consider.
No, 1,500.
No, 1,500.
They'd have to replace the bond.
Right.
Well, they gotta
Oh, they're
replace the
moving out
bond, it's
of
gonna
the
cost
state.
them
Right.
the collection fees and
Okay, Donald, let's go.
998 is an offer of 4,500.
4,500.
4,500.
Commissioner Ford.
Accept.
999 and 1,000 is an offer of 6,000.
6,000.
6,000.
Accept.
1,001 is an offer of 3,500.
Accept.
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 1,002 is an offer of 2,000.
Accept.
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 1,003 is an offer of 4,000.
4,000. Accept.
4,000.
1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008 is an offer of 25,000.
I'll accept 25,000.
Accept.
Only because it's so old, so I'll accept as well.
1,009 is an offer of cancellation bond.
Cancel and bond.
Accept. Cancel and bond.
Accept.
1,010, 1,011 is a no contest default at hearing.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1,012 is a no contest default.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
1,013 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1,014 is an offer of 3,000.
3,000.
Accept.
1,015 is an offer of 12,000.
Place. Right, is this the
This
one?
is
the nightclub on the
problematic.
second
Should we
floor,
just
dancing
ask them to
hookah?
come
Oh, yeah.
in, or?
I was just gonna find, but if you want to talk to him, you can. All right, ask him to come in, Donald.
All right, never mind.
So over to July 13.
July
13.
13.
So there is 3 weeks until the next meeting, yes?
Yeah.
On vacation?
Huh?
Going on vacation or something? Go ahead, Donald.
Permanent.
1,016 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
1,017 is an offer of 2,000.
2,000.
2,000.
Commissioner Ford.
2,000.
1,018 is an offer of 3,000.
3,000.
This should be 3,500.
3,500.
No. It's 3,500 for 18 years old or under, but then they get credit for having nothing in the last 5 years. So it's
Okay.
3,000 is
All
right.
right,
3,000.
Commissioner Ford, was that?
3,000 is fine.
All right. 1,019 is an offer of 1,500.
I'm gonna counter that they'll take the 1,500, but neither the husband or the manager, former manager, can work at the place.
Abraham Montes.
Abraham Montes.
Agree.
So that's a counter
Agreed.
offer. 1,500. And who can't work there?
It's Roberto Montes, Villa Pando, and Abraham Montes. And presumably now the corporate change application can be considered by licensing.
Well, we disapproved it because of the discharge.
Because of this.
If they asked to reactivate it, but then we're going to disapprove it anyway.
Let's go, Don.
You're going to disapprove it?
Well, because of what you just said.
They're still gonna be on license. Okay.
But the wife is the one who's going to end up as the operator.
Oh, okay.
The
It shouldn't
only
be-
innocent of the three is going to end up holding the
It really
license.
shouldn't have been disapproved to begin with because it's just slowing down the process.
Right.
Like this right now. Let's
Yeah.
go.
1,020 is an offer of 1,500.
1,500.
1,500.
So with 1,021, attorney asks to adjourn to the next meeting. They had a medical emergency.
Okay.
The old medical emergency.
Carrying this around.
Is that okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Seven, what is it, seven?
Yeah,
7:13.
We're all fine.
1,022 is also applicant asked to adjourn. The
Again?
representative backed out. They had to find a new attorney.
Who backed up? The attorney backed out?
Or whoever they had as a rep.
Probably for obvious reasons. All right, that's fine.
Okay.
1,024 is an offer of 5,000.
Accept.
I was gonna go to 3,000. It's just 0.4 carton.
All right, 3,000.
3,000.
1027 is an offer of 1,000.
1,000.
Accept.
So with 1030, we received an email withdrawing the application.
Okay.
Received that yesterday. 1034 and 1035 is an offer of 2,500.
2,500.
Accept.
1036, we received an email asking to adjourn to find a new representative.
Again? Okay. New representative.
713.
Okay.
Applications in search of a representative.
1037, we got this in safekeeping, right?
Yes.
So accept.
So that's an
5,000 accept.
Accept.
1042 is a proposed advisory.
Okay to publish.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the record, this is an advisory on newspaper publications and the terms applying to those.
All right, and 1043 is the advisory regarding transfer and then removal.
I'm okay with
of
that.
Package store licenses.
Yep.
All good?
For the record, this
Okay
sets,
to publish.
this sets a procedure for parties applying for a liquor store to transfer and remove.
They're going to be treated like new liquor store applications.
And 1045 is a no contest default at hearing.
Okay.
For the record.
Cancel for the
Cancel
record.
for the record.
And I have no other items. Chairman, do you have anything?
No.
All right, then this is adjourned.
Is there a box?